it's really hit or miss about whether or not people even give a shit about NPCs at all. And normally kids are the thing that you add. Mm-hmm. Kids or barmaids with big bazumbas. Yeah. That is how you get other people involved.
Yeah. That's how you get someone's attention.
Yeah. Yeah.
Moves.
So, okay, hold on. Dan, what is the number one way to get your attention with an NPC?
With an NPC?
Yeah.
The number one way to get my attention with an NPC.
Like an ally, not just an NPC that comes in and magic missiles you in the junk.
Honestly, I feel like I have to be a little bit of a rescuer. So if they have...
If they're in peril, you're good?
If they're in peril, I'm good. I'm there to help.
Ooh, I'm the opposite because I love it when NPCs save me. I love it. It's my favorite thing in the world.
I love to be the rescuer. You like to be the rescuer.
I do love being rescued.
Oh, I'm sensing sparks.
I am a strong, independent woman in real life. So when I'm in game, I enjoy a little bit of.
That makes a lot of sense with like characters like Irvindale and who's the new one? Who's the new Irvindale?
The new Irvindale. Leyland?
No, sorry. The old and
now reoccurring.
And then now reoccurring Irvindale. Yeah.
Absolutely. Love being saved.
Just like the handsome swashbuckler that comes in and rescues you and swings out on a rope.
Yeah. It has like the anime moment where like the rose petals are falling from the sky.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. First snow of the season. Yeah. All of it.
I'm on board with that.
Welcome to It's a Mimic with your DMs, Adam, Dan, and Terry.
Welcome to another episode of the It's a Mimic podcast, a roundtable Dungeons & Dragons discussion, where you never know what you're gonna get. I am Dan, and with me are Megan, who's not Terry, and Adam's also here. And today we're talking about Paladins.
I would like to point out that my hair is still more Viking-esque than Terry's.
Yeah, he's really dropped the ball on that one.
Yeah, he's not doing very
well. Frankly, so's Dan.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of the Vikings would go like super short or...
Oh, okay.
And then like big beard.
I was just wondering, were most Vikings rocking the stellar bald spot in the back of their head? Because that's what I
can only see the front of your head.
Oh, if I lean down, I'll blind you because of the reflection off the chrome dome.
Oh, well,
okay.
Yeah.
Well then.
Yeah, I'm slowly losing my hair because of stress. Something about children, I guess.
Is that what that is?
Yeah. Anyways, so today we're talking about Paladins. Which, to be completely honest, is one of my favorite classes in the game. Especially recently. Like, I've always been playing Warlocks or Paladins. And each time I go into it, it's like...
You don't say.
Do I want to play a Warlock or do I want to play a Paladin? And then I literally have a character where I went, why not both?
Yes.
I did not much like Paladins until I started playing in this last campaign.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was not a Paladin person.
We were talking about this because we knew Terry wasn't going to be available for this episode, and we go...
Good riddance, you bastard.
And we were like, who do we get? Well, obviously we get Megan because all she plays is Paladins.
I'm all about Paladins right now.
Yeah. It's so weird that you say that you didn't like them at all. I, for the record, cannot stand Paladins. I think they're a horseshit garbage class, but we'll get into that later.
How dare you? That's fine.
I have one major contention with them. I have one major contention with them, but otherwise I think they're a fantastic class.
They're possible to kill. That's what it is. That's my number one thing. We'll go through it, but aura. Right? That's
fair
it.
Enough.
So from a player standpoint...
They're amazing.
From a DM standpoint,
fuck these classes.
Yeah, and that's it. I think I've never played a Paladin, but I'm excited. I'm really excited about the role-playing option for my subclass, but we'll get into that later.
Yeah.
Ooh, baby.
So, as with all of our other class episodes, what we'll do is we'll do a quick little breakdown of the standard stat array for a Paladin, and then once we hit our commercial, after we're done that, we will be getting into our lovely oaths, which are your subclass options you get at level 3, and each one of us has...
Can you say that word again?
Oaths.
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 Oaths?
Oaths.
Oaths.
Oaths?
Oaths.
It's not oats.
Oaths?
Oaths.
Okay.
It's not oath. It's oaths.
It's not a hard the. It's a th.
It's soft. Softer.
I hate how you people pick apart my fucking dialect every single time.
It's not even that you have a dialect. Your mouth is just wrong. You just have a bad mouth.
I've never gotten any complaints about my mouth.
Oh, baby.
So, your Paladins are your stalwart warriors, your holy knights. The word that keeps coming up with these guys is righteous. They're righteous knights. They don't necessarily have to be part of a religious order. like they have in past editions, and you don't have to be lawful good like you had to be in last editions.
So hold on, they used to be Knights Templar, and now they're just Knights.
Now they're just straight up.
They
Knights.
used to be self-righteous, and now they're just righteous.
Now they're just righteous.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Paladins are one of your main 2 melee tank classes, and they really build into it that way. They are the ones that are about armor.
Yeah, Meg and I both just held up the
both
number
of you guys just went 3.
Do you not like Barbarian or Fighter?
I don't include Fighter in the as their main role because
Well, I guess it depends on how you build it.
a lot of fighter abilities I find are, yes, it depends on how you build it, and fighters are by far the most versatile when it comes to martial means of fighting.
They're also more mobile, though. I understand they don't stand still.
They don't stand still as much, and they're more about how much damage you're doing than how much
damage you're taking.
How much
Have you done
damage
an
you're
episode
taking.
on fighters already?
Yeah.
We've done fighters and barbarians
We'll go
both.
and listen to the episode about fighters.
Yeah. So I class these. These are the yang to a barbarian's yin, right? Like, or yin. Sorry.
I always felt the balance to a paladin was a rogue.
Yeah, they're the polar opposite. I would even say maybe a warlock.
I was nervous that I wouldn't have anybody to disagree with because Terry wasn't.
Oh no, I am constantly spitting things that these guys disagree with.
Do you see my pain?
So your paladins are almost by design hard to kill. They are heavy armor wearing, shield wielding.
They're good at all saves.
They're good at all saves, and are a party-based class as well with their auras. So we're going to do a quick little breakdown of the proficiencies, what you got, and then we will get to rolling some dice. Right off the bat, Paladins are 1d10 hit points. They are designed to be standing in the front row. In fact, their main 2 stats are going to be, and they recommend this, strength and charisma. I would say you're a little bit more varied on strength. There are some very interesting dex builds out there for Paladins, but you are designed to be a front row fighter, and charisma is going to be your big stat.
This is bizarre to me that you were supposed to be... This is the one, and I get it, but this is the one that's not dex or con based, right? Considering you're supposed to be front row, you're really banking on the fact that your AC and your high saves from all your auras and your class features are going to save you because your hit points aren't going to be as high as fighters and barbarians and rangers with their dex, right? Able to avoid...
But they have so many abilities that keep them from being touched.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, which is why it looks at first glance, if you've never done it before, that you should want Constitution. But honestly, it's like the 4th stat that I want.
I think it's the lowest one I have on my Paladin right now.
For me, I would say Intelligence is the lowest you need for a Paladin.
That's just for you, Dan.
But if you build like a charisma-based one that is meant to be a leader and a speaker, sometimes Intelligence is a good thing to add in there.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. And depending on what campaign you're running, if you're running a very tactical, you could dump int like nothing else. But if you're playing one that is far more roleplay heavy, you dump dex. Let's be honest.
Ooh, I don't know about that. I'm not sure.
You're heavy armor wielding, so you're not getting it for your armor. You're getting your charisma for your saves, and you're wielding a shield anyways. You literally do not need dex as a paladin.
Yeah, but you do because, and this is where I'm going to argue with you, because I'm looking at it from a DM's perspective, and I can't hit you because your AC is too high. I can't hit anybody else around you because you're giving all these bonuses. You know what? Area of effect, area of effect, area of effect, and I'm going to drop you down pits. You need dex for your traps.
Yes, but you get your charisma to your dex. That's why I'm saying you don't necessarily need dex.
To your saves.
To your saves, yeah.
Okay, I still think that a dex is worth more to me than Constitution would be.
Fair enough.
Remind me what saves you from grappling.
You can roll either athletics or acrobatics.
Yeah.
Acrobatics.
So you get strength or dex can save you from that.
Good to know.
So in terms, so they're 1d10 hit points because they're designed to be in the front row. Their proficiencies are everything except tools. You get 0 tools as a paladin. You only get all armor and all weapons.
But you could put armor on your armor if you felt like it.
You really could.
Yeah.
Yep. Your saving throws are going to be wisdom and charisma. That tracks as your holy warrior, force of will, and also the bit of that divine.
I don't like that so much for this version. That was great for the Knights Templar version of previous editions. That doesn't track for me for wisdom and charisma. I get charisma. Oh, hey, we have another charisma-based fucking class, but it feels like it should be strength.
So I have a question. Ideals, like the concept of ideals, are they wisdom or intelligence? Are they book smarts or are they intuition?
I would say...
Do you mean ideals, or tenets?
No, I say ideals. So, like, what they have done, and as a Christian player, I do actually enjoy this little aspect of it as well, is they've removed the necessity to follow a deity to be a paladin. You don't need to be within a deity. You can be a paladin of freedom, or you could be a paladin of...
Right, and so they get tenets.
So you get tenets instead of following...
Right, but ideals are actual things
I'm
for your
saying
backstory.
for ideals, things in your backstory, things that are influencing where your character's going, not necessarily the tenets of the vows you take, of the oaths you take.
All right, I'm with you.
What are the ideals? Are they an intelligence-based thing, or are they a wisdom-based thing?
Or charisma?
Or charisma, but you already get charisma with the paladin. So I'm trying to figure out where that sits. Because they have that holy touch. They have that little sprinkling of the divine in them with their targeting towards fiends and undead and all those other things.
Yeah, but that could just be more martial, that they've trained specifically to vanquish evil, which is more chivalry than
which
it is...
leads towards wisdom in my mind.
Yeah, but
like for me, wisdom charisma makes perfect sense.
I still think that strength makes more sense because you were a knight. Like, because it's wisdom and charisma, this is your frontline fighter that's good with every sort of weapon and armor, but is not proficient with strength, dex, or con. It's just weird. Right, but it's weird that you are... I've seen many paladins that are frustrated because they can't do damage without their smites.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Right, and so that just sits... It feels weird to me. I hear what you're saying, and I think as far as, like, to answer your question with the ideals... if it is religious or knowledge-based ideal, if you've gone like a cloistered scholar or whatnot, then that would be intelligence. But if you are an outlander, then that would be a wisdom-based. And if you...
It's all based off background.
It's based on your background, and it's based on, like... And charisma would be if you have a social... Like a charlatan would be charisma-based, right? So that's... I mean, it's a good question to ask, but I think there's a different answer for each background.
Fair enough.
And things like pirate would be dex-based, right? Like, there would be... Like, or sailor or urchin maybe would be dex based. So that, like, there's my answer. But that's a really good question to ask when you're building your character.
Yeah.
Can I be your tiebreaker?
Sure.
I like it.
That doesn't break the tie.
I am okay.
Is it this or this? Yes.
I like the wisdom and charisma as their save. One, because stat wise you do get an aura later on that helps you with your saves anyways, so it rarely even matters. And then two, I do kind of agree that with the ideals, when it comes to being a paladin or something that you worship or you're devoted to, it's that wisdom piece of being able to protect that piece of you.
Yeah, it feels to me like your paladin is going to see their ideal as just, this is common sense, this is something that everyone should follow, but...
It does look weird as a stat block thing.
It does.
As a role-playing thing, it makes sense to me.
Okay, so then I've got to ask, when you have a martial character, and I don't mean like martial because he can use swords, but I mean like he was
character named Marshall?
No, like he's part of the militia, or he was classically trained. Is that a fighter or a paladin?
I would say yes, and even still, in the description of paladins, it mentions like in a standard army, fighters are rare. Which I went, pardon. In a standard army, fighters are rare. Okay, they're your like
they're militia, they're brawlers, they're champions that have gone out and I learned from my father how to swing a sword, right?
They're experienced and they're trained. Paladins are the same, but they've got that towards evil tint. Or lean to them. They've got this straight up towards evil lean.
Okay, you keep saying that, but it's not just towards evil. Like, you can be an evil paladin now.
Yeah,
you can.
Right? So you can smite good.
Yep.
Right, and so that's one of the options. But it's interesting that they have fewer fighting styles, considering that they have training, than the fighter does with no training. Right, so it's just weird.
I also look at the ranger. The ranger also has their fighting styles as well, but it has even less than the paladin.
No, they both have 4.
They both have 4?
They both have 4.
Okay.
I just looked at Rangers. Like,
cool. Yeah, I was like, I thought Rangers only had the 3.
Rangers comes out next week, so
right.
Yeah, I've been doing my research.
Cool. So that was a shit show.
I liked it.
So at first level, when you first dive into Paladin, we're going to start getting into these special class abilities here. You get your Doppler radar effect for all things evil and icky. This is your divine sense in a 60-foot radius around you. You could detect any celestial fiend or undead, or any hallowed or desecrated ground.
You also get to know what type they are too, right?
Yeah. but not their specific identity, which means if you are a smart DM and your party is chasing, say, a vampire, have that vampire throw other vampires in the way as distractions.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you can do that. Look, this is where I say, Dan is going to say Paragon of Good over and over again in this episode.
You can detect Celestials.
You can detect Celestials. So, I mean, you can still be bad. And they include Celestial in a lot of this, saying that, hey, you know what, you can be evil and go fight against Mount Celestia, and it's perfectly fine.
Yeah, exactly.
So I forget to use this one on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Not because I just forget about it, but more because for a long time I didn't find it useful. Because, can someone explain to me and, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but if they're under total cover, you can't see them. So what does total cover mean to you? So if you're in a dungeon and you're in a room and you decide to try and use it, can you only detect what is in that room that is not invisible? Or is this like you go through a wall? Like, what is total cover to you guys?
What's interesting to me is that I'd say that it works in an open marketplace as people are walking around.
Yeah.
But like in a ballroom, you can detect who the vampire is. Mm-hmm. However, in a dungeon, total cover, like they're there's a hallway at 90 degrees.
Yeah.
You can't sense them around the corner in the dungeon. So this feels, and this was my point about the martial. Do you consider these guys to be martial or not? They really do feel more role play heavy than any of the other big fighty classes. Your barbarian, your fighter, and your ranger, they all have potential. But Paladin has it built right in that they've got some roleplay to them. And it's not, ha-ha, defeat evil, right? There's more to it than that, right?
Yeah.
Their background for sure leads into it, because if you're thinking of Divine Sense as one of their abilities, to your point, they're standing in a marketplace, they just have this innate sense and ability to pick out maybe whether their eyes glow or whether they're...
Just the way they're carrying themselves.
Like they have that...
I like to point out, if you are in a room full of vampires and some of them are invisible, you could detect them with this.
So invisibility doesn't count as total cover.
I would say invisibility doesn't count as total cover.
Yeah, okay, I would say that... Okay, really?
Yes. Because the rules for total cover are completely different than the rules for invisibility.
Mm.
Total cover gives you +5 to your AC and doesn't give you a disadvantage to hit. Invisibility specifically gives you a disadvantage to hit. And that's it.
I'm looking it up.
Yeah. So I would say if you are standing in a room full of invisible undead or invisible fiends, you could detect that they're around. It's the smell of brimstone or the smell of death in the area and you being able to figure it out.
So maybe you could sense it, but would you say that they can pinpoint where they are?
Specifically, it says, a target with total cover can't be targeted directly by an attack or a spell, although some spells can reach such a target by including it in an area of effect. A target has total cover if it is completely concealed by an obstacle.
Okay.
So there has to be a physical barrier.
Exactly.
And I would say that things like Wall of Force would be...
Oh, yeah. Like a wall of flame, even, I would give you. Because, like, the heat would ruin
Bonfire?
your senses. Yeah.
Right? So fire is a little iffy for me. But I think that if you can perceive it, you can see it enough, then I impose 3/4 cover on maybe a bonfire. But Wall of Flame, it does say wall right in it, right?
Yeah.
Like,
no, I'm with you on that one. So, yeah, I it's horribly underused and far more powerful than Detect Evil, which was back in the day. Like, their back in the day ability of Detect Evil was the thing that a lot of people always used all the time. And this one is not used as much, but far more powerful because it also lets you detect sacred or desecrated grounds.
Yeah, the other thing about it too is that you can use it a number of times equal to 1 plus your charisma modifier.
Oh, your charisma modifier as Paladins is your highest stats. If we haven't said that yet, we're saying it now.
Yeah,
it's your highest stat.
So
that is your main stat.
You're going to have it a minimum of 4 times because you probably have a +3 plus the 1, right?
Yeah.
So 4 to 6 times
per short rest.
No, per
per long
long
rest.
rest. So that's amazing to use. I think that's so much more powerful than blowing a spell slot on Detect Evil or Good, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Next, you get your Lay on Hands, which is where you get a pool of healing power of 5 times your Paladin level. You get to expend this by touching a creature, and then you could choose as an action to divvy out as many of those hit points as you want to that creature, up to the maximum amount you're allowed by your limits of your pool.
Which is, again, Paladin level +5, or times 5.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Basically, every level you get 5. And you can spend 5 hit points to cure any disease or remove any poison on a player. At level 1, this is where my problem with Paladins comes in. At level 1, if you have a Paladin in the group, you can neutralize disease and poison whenever you want. This comes back at a long rest as well.
Which means that if you have it, how many times can you use it?
Your pool.
Oh, you're right. Your pool, so there's no limitation how many times. You can heal one person here, one person there for 1 hit point, and this will bring someone up from unconsciousness too.
Yeah, this stops death saves.
Yeah.
You walk over and as an action you touch that pesky rogue that kept on getting hit by the Balrog. Well, guess what? It has a hit point. And it's not doing death saves anymore.
Which I love with the Paladin because you don't get cantrips, so you can't take Spare the Dying.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah, I don't know. This always feels overpowered to me for the first 2 tiers. And then by tier 3, it matters less.
Yeah, it matters less.
Sure.
I agree. I use it less now at a higher level as a Paladin than I did at first couple of levels.
Which, I mean, it's kind of weird because you get like 5 times your Paladin level. That scales incredibly.
Yeah, but by tier 3, you're getting hit for 43 damage a round, which is half of your pool. Yeah. Right? You can get hit by something like a Balrog. It's not inconceivable that you're going to run up against a Merilith who's just going to go, on my turn I get 7 attacks, bang, 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 bang. Right? You're just like, ow, fuck, ow. I feel better. Next.
Yeah, it's not like a breathtaking amount of like health at that point once you're at higher level. Yep. But the one that I keep forgetting about, and again, when I went through this to do my research, I was like, I forgot about a lot of things that I could have been doing. And I'm like,
as someone who is playing in the party of your Paladin, I went through this and went, fucking Megan.
No, and that's true.
Megan,
and even like I was thinking in my head, the whole time I was reading this, I was thinking, Adam must fucking hate me.
Adam loves you. Adam loves you.
Yeah, you're not doing any of the stuff that I'm like, all right, how many times has someone dropped in the party and I've just sat there and been like, oh shit, how did he get to this? Megan. But no, okay, so the thing about Lay on Hands, about it curing diseases and poisons, you'll notice that it doesn't or doesn't remove curses.
No.
Which is a big thing. It doesn't get rid of status effects. Right?
It used to get rid of like paralyzed and exhaustion.
It doesn't even get rid of the poisoned condition. It gets rid of you no longer have are under the effect of a poison. So if the poison is doing 2 rounds of damage every turn, that ends. If you're whatever like poison damage.
This is that ambiguity of poison that you hate and have brought up on multiple things. I would say you could cure the poison condition with this. As a DM, I would run it that you could, but I understand where you're coming with this one because again, it's that ambiguity of. Is it a poison? Is it the poison condition? Is it poison damage? What's going on?
Yeah, okay, sure. I would say, though, I would also rule that this cures drunkenness.
Yeah.
That's a poison.
It's poison.
Yeah, so I would very much include that. The Barbarian is drunk and talking too much. Wander over, lay on hands for 5 points. And, okay, sober up, bastard.
Yes, sober.
Yeah.
Playing the group's alcoholic. Why did you just tell the Paladin that?
I know. I'm so excited. But no, it was definitely the cure poisons and cure effects is the piece that I always forgot. Like I used Lay on Hands a lot at the beginning, and then it died down because the effect was not as great as it once was, and my healing spells were better.
Yeah.
But
would you guys have this cure addiction?
Oh hell no!
Addiction is a disease.
But then we get into a whole mental health process.
And you get at level 1, your Paladin is able to just hand wave per day, one person per day. Hand wave addiction.
No, I feel like it would be able to cure the effects of your addiction in the moment, but I don't think it could cure the addiction because that's a mental thing. That's not.
I would say yes. You're right. It cures the DTs.
Yeah.
You're not going to have the shakes as you sober up.
Yeah.
Right. You don't have the chemical dependency.
I can help you get through it. Right.
However, you are going to sit there and be like, I'm stressed and I need a cigarette.
And I don't know what to do about it. Yeah.
So okay.
Cool. At second level, you get your fighting style. We talked a little bit about this, but a lot of the Paladin fighting styles are, all but one, are tilted towards being a protector. You have defense, where you get +1 if you're to your AC if you're wearing armor. You get dueling, where you get +2 to damage rolls on your weapon as long as you're not wielding another weapon. You can wield a shield, though, and it still works. And you get protection, which is whenever you see a creature, you can impose disadvantage on attacks that attack someone else.
Beside you, within 5 feet.
Yeah. The fourth one, and the one I absolutely love, is Great Weapon. fighting. When you roll a 1 or 2 on damage dice on a two-handed or versatile weapon, when you're wielding it with two hands, I emphasize, because if you are wielding a longsword with one hand, you cannot re-roll your dice, even if you have this. But you get to re-roll those 1s and 2s on damage dice for the first time, and then take the second, of course. Yeah,
so I have some feelings on these. Mostly because I took protection all the time as a paladin. I've taken it. You have to look at the dynamics of your party.
Oh, you don't use it nearly enough.
If you have a party that is all ranged, it is not going to work in your...
Yeah, you're in a party with a ranged fighter, a wizard, and a rogue who used Mage Hand and spells because he was an arcane trickster.
I do not get to use it for the effect I want to do, because I built a paladin specifically to be very like protection based. That was her oath and her thing. That's what she loved. So the fact that I took protection, it didn't do anything for me, and I don't use it. No. So anytime I really get to use it is if there's an NPC fighting with us who happens to be beside me.
I think the last time I remember you using that was like the second session of the campaign.
Right? And sometimes when the rogue character was stupid and got too close.
Exactly. At second level, you get spellcasting. Your spellcasting is based off your charisma modifier. You get charisma plus half your paladin level rounded down spells that you could prepare off the paladin spell list every day. To prepare your spells, it takes 1 minute per level of spell that you are preparing. I found that very interesting when I was reading. That's a new little tidbit of information for me, because it's not the hour of prayer and meditation that clerics need. It's not the hour of study that wizards need. It is a minute per spell level of spell that you are preparing. I love that. Your saves are based off your wisdom. Based off your charisma, as is your charisma spellcaster, and you only get 5 levels of spell slots.
Man, which is one of the lowest, isn't it?
What?
The spell slot capabilities, 5 is the lowest.
No, Rangers and Paladins.
No, and Warlocks.
Warlocks, yes, but Warlocks do get 9 spell slots.
Warlocks with an asterisk, right? Cool. Yeah. But on the spell progression table, you're right.
Slowest. Right.
Well, it's the same as Rangers. It is the slowest with Rangers.
Because it's like every second or third level you get the increase, right?
Yeah. Honestly, I'm so tired of charisma-based spellcasting.
There's a lot of it.
That's all there is in 5th Ed. I mean, you get the odd cleric or wizard, right? But everything else, I really feel... Where's our intelligence? Can we not say, hey, these guys are good battle tactics and that's what their smites are, or they know from their studies that they can do? Can we not put a bit of a wizard spin on paladins a little bit, considering we're no longer truly divine? Why did it have to go charisma? And
I would love to see an oath that is more of an arcane trained paladin. I mean, yeah, that's very gishy, and why wouldn't you just play
an Eldritch Knight?
Why wouldn't you just play an Eldritch Knight? But with a paladin lean to it, I would love to see an intelligence-based one where your oath makes it intelligence rather than charisma. I don't see a reason why your subclasses can't twist that.
I just imagined a science paladin.
He's up there with heavy armor and thick glasses.
Right, thick glasses, and he's just got beakers and stuff in his bag.
His Bibles, they got pocket protector.
Yeah. His pens.
His divine senses. Actually.
Yeah. Oh my god. Can we build this?
Yes, we can. Now,
I cast Smite.
We're being offensive to every nerd everywhere, and I'm sorry.
Half of them are laughing with us, the other half are screaming at it. But we'll still continue to listen. So, here comes the thing I dislike about Paladin's Divine Smite. It uses your spell slots to hit... what are our options here? To hit... to do additional radiant damage on each weapon hit you have, as long as it's a melee weapon attack. And you get a bonus damage if it's fiend or undead. So for every spell slot you get, other than first, you get to add 1d8 at first level. If you're spending a first level spell slot, you add 2d8 to a maximum of 5d8, which means if you are a paladin of level 13 or higher, don't spend your 5th level spell slots on smites. You can't. Mm-hmm. You're not getting the benefit to the full extent there. You are losing a d8 of damage. Just use your 4th and down.
This stacks on top of your other smites, though.
Yes.
So why not? Because those smites are all a bonus action.
You use your spell slots to cast.
Yeah.
Brandishing Smite or Banishing Smite or whatever
Sure.
that is. But then you have to spend another spell slot to get this.
Sure.
You don't put them both together.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying, when you're spending a spell slot specifically for the class ability of Divine Smite, don't use a 5th. Use your 5th for your bonus action spell smites, not this.
Yeah.
You don't even get 5th until level 17.
Is it 17?
17.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's very high.
Yeah,
up
you
there.
said 13 and I went, what?
No, sorry. At 13, you get 4th level, I believe is what it is.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So just to go over that damage progression again, at second level, when you are able to do this, you get 2d8 damage for spending a first level spell slot. Every single spell slot after that, you get an additional d8 up until 4th, because you have a max of 5d8 that you can use based on sacrificing spell slots. You get an additional d8 up to 6d8 if it's a fiend or an undead.
Not okay, so you get one more, which can make it up to. You don't get an additional 68.
Yeah.
Okay, so I hate that this is Radiant and Fiend and Undead. This still feels like you should be able to do Necrotic against Celestials. It's overlooked the fact that we're not good. That we don't have to be lawful good anymore. It feels like sometimes they had that condition that originally in the first draft, and then they took that out and left some of the flavor text in later on.
Yeah, no,
right? And so I think it's really weird. And I, as a DM, would totally let the evil tiefling paladin be able to do necrotic damage against celestials instead.
That
right?
was kind of like one of my big questions around it, the whole lawful good nonsense of being a paladin, was if you were to be playing someone who was evil, or let's say you're a paladin who worshipped Tiamat, like, would you give them the ability to do that kind of stuff? Because I feel like that's very fitting and it works, but it still fits within the devotion of a paladin. But if you read every spell, everything that they write, even the auras and the oaths, they all lean towards the lawful good side.
The same way that warlocks all lead toward evil. Right? It's written inherently into it in the text to play it that way, and I dislike that. Yeah. So I would say that if you want to break out of the mold a little bit, if people that are looking at playing an evil party, don't even look at Paladin.
I disagree.
I know what I'm saying is, if you're going to look at it, go over it with your DM and say, look, can we change this flavor so I can play a paladin?
Yeah, because rules is written, you can't. But if you were to partner with your DM and your team and be like, hey, like, this is what I really want to do, it's the same amount of damage, it's the same stuff, it's just against a different type of ghoul.
I would also look into, and we're not going to cover these oaths here, but go into the Oathbreaker Paladin that you find in the DMG. Go into Oath of Conquest in Xanathars. These are other ways to play evil flavored paladins.
Yeah.
We're going to do all that in a future episode.
Which we're going to do in a future episode. So after you get your Divine Smites, you get Divine Health. You're immune to disease at third level.
You can already get rid of it with 5 points of lay on hands.
Yeah.
What's the point of that?
What's the point of this ability?
Then you don't have to waste it on yourself.
Yeah, but
it's 5 points.
It's 5 points.
I'm
often
just
is
trying
disease?
to defend it because I feel like I have to.
This is my big contention with Paladins, and I think it is a systemic problem with 5th edition itself. Poisons and diseases
are ill-defined.
And useless by 3rd level.
It's like curses. Curses are useless by 5th level as well.
Yeah.
Right.
So by
5th level, because you get level 3 spells, which is remove curse.
Diseases should be a up until end of 2nd tier threat. Poison should be an end of 2nd tier threat.
You should be able to you should have a level 20 wizard be killed because the assassin snuck in and poisoned his drink. And while he was busy reading, suddenly his heart stopped and down he went. Poison should be effective at all levels. There are even some things about the gods poisoning each other.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck is a level 3 paladin doing then that gods can't?
Yeah, I can cure you, my god, of your
Yeah, no, this bothers me in every way, shape, or form.
So would you, in a game, say, like, this is not a thing you can do?
I would... No. I would absolutely say that this is something you can do. However, I, as a DM, would create levels of poison.
Gotcha.
And I would say, look, we're just going to scale this as we go. So by level 20, all poison, sure. But maybe when each spell slot opens up, like when you can cast 4th level spells, you get the 4th level of poisons you're immune to.
Yeah,
something like that.
I'm on board with something like that. Yeah, a little tweak. Yeah.
Just it makes a little more sense. And then I would try to come up with a bonus. Hey, you know what? You can also cure a disease or your lay on hands
And
costs 3.
And make disease, make curses, make poisons in your game actually something that comes up more than once a character is an interesting little arc and then it's never heard from again.
Oh, my favorite thing. Look. If you've got Lay on Hands and you walk in as level 13 Paladins, you have 65 points or in your pool for Lay on Hands. And I'm sitting there going, okay, so that's 13 people you can heal a day. You've walked into a town of about 850 people, all suffering from some sort of blight. And it takes about 3 days for you to catch it, and it's highly infectious. You cannot cure the whole town.
True enough.
That is how I counter this Lay on Hands nonsense. By giving it to populations, not PCs.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So you also at 3rd level get your Sacred Oath. We'll cover that in just a minute. However, I do want to point out you get your Oath spells, which we'll cover shortly, but you also get Channel Divinity, which means once per day, as a long or short rest, you get one of your Channel Divinity options that your Oath gives you. Your Oaths don't specifically tell you how many you get, so I wanted to mention it now, that you get 1 a day for the rest of your class. You never get 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So before we move on to, I wanted to go back to just quickly to smites, because something came up in my research that I wanted to ask you guys about. So a lot of paladin spells and things that they do require concentration, such as like their bless and stuff, and you'll get into
some of their
later.
auras do as well.
Exactly,
yeah.
Right? Smites require concentration.
Pardon?
Yep.
Divine Smite does not, however.
So things like your Banishing Smite and other things like that, they do require concentration. So they're the higher spell like smites that do require it.
They're the ones that do an additional little thing, like if you move again, you're going to explode.
Exactly, right? And I never actually mentally took that into account for the newer ones that I was taking as I was getting like higher in level.
A lot of people treat all smites like Divine Smite, where they have to blow the spell slot once. But if you're going to blow a 2nd level spell slot to get, I forget what it is, Brandishing Smite or whatever it is, at 2nd level, and you concentrate for up to a minute, you do that on every round. You don't have to blow that spell slot over and over and over again,
it's
like
there.
you do with Divine Smite. The class ability, you have to blow it every round. But the spell lasts for a duration.
Yeah, so if like you cast it on yourself and you try to hit and you miss 2 times, whatever, move on, next round, if you hit, you get it.
This is another thing. Yes, you're absolutely right. This is another thing that I feel like we should have used a different word for Divine Smite.
Yes.
Right? We should have... the Divine
or for the
Smackdown,
spells.
right?
Yeah.
Or for the spells. Change the word of the spells, because Smite has been a paladin thing forever.
Yeah.
Right. But look, all the smites are paladin-only spells. I'm fine with calling the smite spells smites.
But yeah, no, I agree.
with
The
it.
Divine Smite piece probably should have been something completely
Divine
different.
Smackdown.
Because you would consider them to be the same.
Divine
And
Wedgie.
If I didn't actually read the details of Banishing Smite,
Divine
which is what I was
Tickles.
thinking of taking, it's a concentration. So if I was to have a Bless up or a Bane up or something like that, I would lose it if I was to use a Smite.
Which is, except for Divine Smite, right? So I feel like that's... Which is why I would want Divine Smite to be called Divine Bitch Slap.
Can you please just... I'm going to rename it to that whenever I decide to use it.
I'm a bitch slap, you motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Never do that again. At 4th level, you get your ability score improvement. We're just going to move on. Everyone knows what that is.
Sacred Oaths, you didn't go through it. The Oath spells.
We're going to cover the Oath spells when we do the Oaths.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But again, you do get this little pool
Of additional spells that you get automatically that don't count towards your prepared spells level.
Yeah, that are part of your subclass, and you get 2 at 5th level, 3rd level, 9th level, 13th level, and 17th level.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so really every odd numbered level except for 1, 11, and 19.
Yeah. Okay. At 5th level, you get your extra attack, which really tracks with the a stand in the front row and attack things. Every other one gets it. Fighters get it. Barbarian gets it. It makes sense that Paladins get it. Even Rangers get it. So,
I have heard the argument that, like, other people that have played Paladins hate it. Not hate it in the sense that they get it, but hate it in the sense that if you're thinking of the other martial classes that are meant to be fighting, they can get up to 4. Whereas, like,
only
4
fighters.
attacks.
Only fighters.
Only fighters can.
That is the specific fighter benefit.
Yeah, but like Paladins have the least amount for being a martial fighter.
No, it's the same as Rangers. It's exactly the same as Rangers.
The same as Barbarians.
Oh, really? I thought Barbarians had more. Why did I think that?
Even Hexblade Warlocks, which get this at 5th level as well.
Yeah.
With Thirsting Blade, only get the 2.
Oh.
Yeah, the idea that you can do more comes from also monks get a shit ton of attacks with all their key points and flurry of blows.
Yeah.
And also you can use an offhand weapon if you're going to do that.
True.
And there's not a huge benefit to a paladin to be wielding 2 light weapons when you have all these other options.
Yeah.
I would rather use a great sword and 2 weapon or in great weapon fighting than using 2 weapon fighting with 2 short swords. Right? It doesn't make as much sense to me to build that kind of character. So I wouldn't. So I'm only getting 2 attacks with this.
Yeah.
But you're using your bonus attacks on your freaking smite. So what are you doing? Right? Like, stop it. Just smite.
You want to have a 45-second workday with a paladin? Go with your 2-weapon fighting paladin and just smite every single time. You will blow through your spell slots like no one else.
Yeah.
Right? You will have the 3rd round of combat, and all you will be able to do is base weapon damage for the rest of the day.
But that's what I mean, is eventually get to the point where you are just doing base weapon damage, which for a paladin is not a whole heck of a lot.
No, it's not. Until you get to about a level 11, and then you have some supplement there. But for the most part, you're completely right. Like, it's pretty brutal. But I mean, you get the 2 attacks, so at least you're not a wizard.
There you go.
At 6th level, you get Aura of Protection, which all of your allies standing within 10 feet of you gets your charisma bonus to their saves, including you.
This is just too early.
At 6th level,
It's too early.
I think it's on par, but only because it's a 10-foot aura.
It's too early. That's all there is to it because it's saving throws. It's the fact that it's any. If it was charisma or mental throws or physical throws, if there was a limiter to it, I would say sure.
Yeah.
But the idea that you can hit the whole party, that fireball trap, the delayed fireball goes off, and you're just like, nope, everybody do this at 6th level. Right? People don't have 30 hit points yet, and they're doing it. It's just too early.
My only argument to that is because their entire main damage focus is based off their spell slots and the fact that you will burn through them quickly as being using them for your Divine Smites. You're going to get to a point where the only thing you're there is to protect your party.
Big support.
Right? And which means you are standing there within 10 feet of as many people as you can with your shield and making sure you're at least close enough to the rogue to pull them into your protection fighting style whenever you're there.
I do kind of agree, though, that it should be nerfed in some way, shape, or form.
Or just level 8.
Yeah, not necessarily the level, but I feel like if you did something along the lines of if you are occupied by something or are doing something that you're focusing on, it doesn't trigger.
I would honestly swap Aura of Courage and Aura of Protection.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I like that better. Sure. Fuck, why not?
But no, like I feel like it just comes down to it's a very powerful thing to use when you are in a party that does stupid things.
Yes.
And that is our party in a nutshell.
And 80% of all parties out there.
So I do agree, though, because in my mind, if my character is holding onto a rope with 5 people dangling from them trying to climb up a mountain, and a rock slide happens. You know what I mean? Like, I am occupied trying to hold on to this rope. It's a concentration, right?
I love the idea of the rogue, like, hey, can I get this bonus? Occupado.
Occupado. Yeah, well, that's what I mean. It's like, in my mind, if I am not concentrating on protecting my team because I am doing something, it shouldn't trigger.
I'm sitting right now trying to flip through, and I'm looking for other 6th level class features in anything else that is just a base class feature. And I'm having trouble finding anything. There's nothing, like, I don't know why this is 6th level for the Paladin, because there's always something for 3rd, 4th, 5th, and then it usually jumps to 8th or 9th.
I do agree with Dan where I feel like it comes down to the fact that at some point Paladins do kind of become useless if they are in a big battle and they blow through all their smites and now they're just doing base damage. Their support character needs to shine somehow, and this does that for them.
When you have one channel divinity and incredibly finite amount of spell slots that you could burn through super quick as a paladin. Mm-hmm. If you were burned through all of your spell slots...
I don't have any patience for that nonsense. It's no different than... Like, I hear what you're saying, yes, you're going to burn through them quickly. You're also going to burn through your meta magic, right? You're also going to burn through your
warlock spell slots.
Warlock spell slots. Yeah. You're going to burn through your key points. You're burning through... this is why we have resource management aspect.
Yes,
you burn through your rages, right? Like
for warlocks and sorcerers and those ones that we mentioned, they're burning through a resource that they get on top of another resource. Whereas all of the paladin's abilities are tied to the same resource. And that's where my problem is, right? Monks kind of fit in the same thing. We had this discussion when we talked about monks, but Your problem was monks had too large of a resource when it came to their key points.
Yeah.
My problem is paladins have too small of a resource when it comes to their smites, but I like how many spell slots they get. I feel like there should be a separate pool for the smites entirely. It shouldn't be tied to spell slots.
Okay, I agree with you. The problem is now you're juggling lay on hand pool, smite pool, and spell slot pool. And I think that's too much.
Yeah, that paperwork's up there. Anyways, at 10th level you get your Aura of Courage.
All right, hold on. Just as a I found one. Bards at 6th level get counter charm, which means that you can. I mean, I know we covered this in the Bard episode, but if someone tries to charm you, you go, no, counter. That is not equal to, all right, everybody get a +5 to your saves. Every save. That's just not on par for 6th level, which is why I say 8th or 9th. I'm fine with the thing itself, or swapping it for courage, like you said.
Yeah.
But I don't know, it's just a weird design for me.
The only other thing I really don't like about it is it's only 10 feet. It never scales higher than that. You're a level 20 paladin.
Sure, yeah, you know what? Make it 5 feet, and then instead of this Aura of Courage bullshit, make that 10 feet, and then 15 feet later, and 20 feet.
Yeah, let it get slowly bigger.
It does scale at 18th level.
Oh, at 18th level it gets to 30
To
feet.
30, yeah.
Yeah, but we should work our way towards
We should work your way
that
up to
better.
it.
Yeah.
It goes from 10 to 30 right near your capstone.
Yeah, once you hit 18, you're just like, oh man, I'm of age.
I could buy smokes and all my friends are better because I'm pretty.
I love pornography. Anyway.
you hit 18th level and your aura drops and suddenly your voice deepens.
I love it.
So when you hit spiritual puberty, so at 10th level you get Aura of Courage, which anything within 10 feet of you can't be frightened if you're conscious. Should be noted that if you're conscious... And that's the same for Aura of Protection.
And again, when we went over our thing about all the healing spells and whatnot, we did that special, right? When you're conscious does not necessarily mean when you have 1 or more hit points. You can be at 0 hit points and conscious sometimes.
Yes.
So be clear about that.
Yeah. At level 11, you get Improved Divine Smite, which adds a standard stock 1d8 to all of your melee attacks. Across the board.
Sure.
It's my favorite.
When you use your Divine Smite ability that you get at level 2, it adds on top of this d8.
Yeah, so you just get a permanent 1d8.
You just get a permanent 1d8 to all damage. This is when doing your 3-weapon...
With specifically
melee weapons.
Yeah.
All of this is specifically with melee. You cannot smite with a bow and arrow.
You can with the spells.
You can with spells, but
yeah.
Standard stock paladin, you can't, unless it's melee. At 14th level, and I'm going to look over at our level 17 paladin very, very, very judgmentally here as I read this one out. At 14th level, you get Cleansing Touch.
Sponge Bath.
Which
the feature.
Yeah, Sponge Bath, the feature. A number of times equal to your charisma modifier that regenerate on a long rest. You can remove any ongoing spell effect on yourself or one willing creature. No save, you just do it.
First of all, it takes an action to do it.
Yeah.
Second, you can end one spell on yourself or one willing creature. I am going
That you touch.
Look. Fuck. That is intense. That is absolutely intense. If... here's my question. If you are in... What's the one? Soul Cage? Mm-hmm. Where you are suddenly... You see the falsified surroundings and you think you're on top of a pillar surrounded by lava and whatnot.
Yeah.
And if you step outside, you take a shit ton of psychic damage and shit. Right? Do you know... And that you've been fooled. If you are charmed and you don't know you're charmed, can you willingly be healed from that?
I would say
because you don't know, right? And this is where I don't think that. I think it should say it should just be an ally, not a willing creature, but an ally.
Yeah.
Right, and that removes some of this ambiguity there because I'm gonna get really. If someone is unconscious, are they a willing creature? If someone is asleep, are they a willing creature? If someone is drunk, can they give consent?
Okay.
Tread lightly, Dan.
I'm going to tread lightly. My first aid... so, anyone who's taken first aid training will know that if someone is unconscious, consent to aid them is implied by their unconsciousness.
In Canada.
Is that not an American thing? Oh,
no,
wow.
No, you can be straight up sued for giving someone CPR.
It's true.
I love Canada.
Okay, in Paladin's defense, in the fact that my Paladin does not use this that often.
Fucking ever.
Here is the defense
Not
for it.
once.
No, okay, let me...
Not fucking once have you ever used this
I'm
ability.
a rewind all the way back to when we were talking about
How often Lockie is the target of spell effects, often right next to his paladin friend.
And again, it does say one spell, which means you have to choose which spell if there's more than one going on, and that doesn't include things like if you are charmed by someone's innate ability to. If a monster can just hand wave and you
can't get rid of a Medusa's petrification.
Exactly, right.
With this.
Well, it's not conditions either. It has to be a spell, right? So if the spell is actively giving you a condition, actively round after round, and you're constantly rolling saves, then yes. But if you have failed against that feature and you are now stone, you are not under the effect of a spell. This won't work.
Yeah, you've been affected by that spell.
Yeah.
But, like, anything that technically Lockie was affected by, I don't think it would have worked. And that's why I never used it.
You guys rarely got hit by spells.
Spells.
You guys were always hit by, you walked through a ghost, you asshat.
As someone playing a gnome who rarely gets to roll his advantage versus spells, I'm aware.
And not only that, but again, in my defense, when we are in the throes of battle, when spells would give you an effect of some kind that I could potentially cleansing touch, I am face to face with the monster, y'all 30 feet back.
30 feet nothing. He's 110
How
feet
am I going to
back.
touch you?
With his face in a barrel, snorting narcotics.
Within a round, I will be 110 feet with my face in a barrel, snorting narcotics, right up next to it, hitting it, and then another 20 feet away, shooting it with a crossbow.
There's never really an opportunity for me to use it.
But remember, your hit and run doesn't count because the paladin has to use an action to do this.
Yes.
Right? So, this is okay, but it feels like it's something that should happen after a battle or during a role play.
Yep.
Not mid-battle, because I would much rather be smiting.
I think that's one of the reasons why you have such a limited pool of it. Like, you have your charisma modifier and that's it.
Yeah.
Right?
So you can clean up everybody once.
Yeah.
Right? If everybody's charmed.
Yeah.
So.
And that's it for stock paladins.
Well, okay. So
except for their spells. Adam?
Their spells. The paladin only spells. Now they have a bunch of other ones, and they are divine spellcasters, right? So here's what they get in alphabetical order: Aura of Life, Aura of Purity, Aura of Vitality. These are all level 4 and level 3, so you're not getting these till much later. You get Banishing Smite, Blinding Smite, Branding Smite, Circle of Power, Compelled Duel, Crusader's Mantle. I didn't know that was paladin only. I'm a little surprised by that. Destructive Wave, which is my favorite on this list. You get Divine Favor, Elemental Weapon, Find Greater Steed, Searing Smite, Staggering Smite, Thunderous Smite, and Wrathful Smite. There are a lot of smites. So, are you looking up Destructive Wave, Dan?
I'm looking up Destructive Wave, but that is not just the PHB spells.
Seems likely. Let me check my notes. That
will also include, because Find Greater Steed, I believe, is Xanathar's.
Yeah, this is Xanathar's and Player's Handbook.
Yeah.
So, let me tell you all about Destructive Wave. Because this is my favorite. It's a 5th level spell. Right? So you're not getting this until...
Level 17.
Yeah, way later. You strike the ground, creating a burst of divine energy that ripples outward from you. Each creature you choose, within 30 feet of you, must succeed on a Constitution save, or take 5d6 thunder damage, as well as 5d6 radiant or necrotic, your choice, and be knocked prone. A creature that succeeds only takes half damage and doesn't get knocked prone.
I would like to happily announce that I took this spell.
Yes! As the party rogue, yes!
Well, because I looked at Banishing Smite, and I was like, do I want that? And then we talked about it, and it doesn't work the way that, in our game, the way that we would want it to.
Yeah.
So I was like, F it. I'm going to take this.
I'm so happy you've taken this.
It's a load of fun because, 10d6. Just boom!
Yeah.
Right? This is your, I'm sorry, wizard, you fireballed? Stand back, let me show you the thing. And this is people you choose. So you can have it not be...
This should just be named Ouch Aura.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything with Paladins and Aura,
boom.
including this spell. It's a 30-foot radius around you. It's an aura of Ouch.
So, overall, I guess, are we going to roll dice on this, Dan, to see what we think about
Yeah,
the stock
I
Paladin?
definitely want to do that. So everybody grab your dice. You guys, neither of you picked the dice I set out for you.
No.
That's because you cursed them.
Yeah.
I was really hoping you would roll a 6. So Adam and I both rolled a 6, so we got to roll again. Adam got a natural 20. So Megan, you're first. Thoughts about the standard stock Paladin?
I feel like we covered a lot of my likes and dislikes of everything individually, but I feel like as a whole, I enjoy the Paladin as a character to play, mostly because you are forced to roleplay things specifically a little bit more stronger, and it's a good practice roleplaying one, because it is very specific. So if you are not a good role player, such as myself, this one forces you to roleplay in a way that is more structured to its alignment.
I just witnessed in our last game, you sit down for an interrogation, and I would like to point out, in a fully role-play encounter, you fucking crushed it.
Oh, thank you, friendo.
I'm not good at role-playing thing. I call bullshit. That was some great D&D.
And for clarity, you were being interrogated.
Yes,
I know.
as a paladin.
And you could not lie.
I know, it was good.
Yeah.
But honestly, I've been playing my Paladin for what now? Over a year?
Yep.
And I would say that I've improved over the year that I've been playing this character, specifically because you're forced to roleplay a specific way for a while until you evolve as a character.
Yeah.
And I felt that, yes, my character has evolved, and I've evolved with her, but I started off with, this is what I'm supposed to be doing, this is what my beliefs are, this is what I'm doing. I don't have to make shit up. You have a stock character, literally, to start with.
Yeah.
Based on your devotion, based on your oath, based on all those kinds of things.
Yeah,
So
and you get tenets of your oath, and you've got your background. Like, it's all laid out for you.
it's all laid out for you. You
Yeah.
don't really have to think very hard with a paladin when you start.
I
And
love
that's
them.
why I like them.
Yep, no, I'm with you. Adam?
I don't like this half commitment to gods. That is my issue with it. I'm fine with the like. I've had a couple little complaints about it, but these are weird design complaints. Overall, I would like to play a paladin. I hate DMing against them because they just make your life difficult. Much like I don't like DMing against rogues or bards. They're just, generally speaking, you have to have a new mentality, and I'm constantly coming up with new and interesting ways to get past, oh, you're really freaking good at this one thing. Right? So I can never do this, so what am I going to do instead? I need a different toolbox, right? So it makes me grow as a DM. I don't think a lot of DMs have it in them to do that. The patience to sit down and go, okay, look, how is the paladin designed? What is the party dynamic? Because I will spend 20 hours a week going, aura of courage.
Megan will never use this,
Yeah.
so we're good.
You spend 20 hours a week on going, right, her entire party's ranged. Never mind.
but I sit down, and believe me, I have it built into my encounters, that if this comes up, there's a contingency, right? But I don't think that a lot of people have the ability to do that, right?
Yeah.
To decide, can we reward this? If you chose this class, you took it for a reason, and that's to help everybody else. So I can't take away all of your aura shit all of the time. When can I and when can't I, right? It is your lay on hands that prompted me to create an entire area where healing and resurrection could not happen.
And we had a character death that day.
Yeah.
I just wanted to ramp up the fright factor of it, right? But it was because we had a paladin in the party.
True.
Right? Anyway, so overall, I like it, but I don't like this half commitment to gods. As much as it says in all the flavor text, everything about, where is it? Whether sworn before a god's altar or the witness of a priest, right? And it's on and on, nature spirits and fey beings. And look, either do it or don't. Don't say divine sense, divine smite, divine health, channel divinity, improve divine smite, and you're always using your divination through it on and on and on, but you're not talking about the gods themselves. You don't have a holy symbol. I feel like every paladin should have iconography of their god on their shield and their breastplate, and probably at the base of the blade of their sword, or maybe on the pommel of the hilt, right? Like they should be wearing a helmet with a great big praise Palor on top of it, and a neon sign is always like spinning. So they should have that level of it if they're going to be this divine in the flavor text. So I would suggest remove the divine and go with the oaths and the tenets, which we do in the subclasses, but the base way that it's written, it just needs a little bit of an overhaul. And I think that this is a holdover from 3.5 and 4th edition.
For sure. 100%.
And I'm hoping that by the time that we move into 6th and 7th edition, we can leave this behind and start to look at the idea of being more aware of a planar perspective instead of maybe gods. You're more connected to planes, the way that rangers and druids are connected to nature.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting.
Right? Just something else to give you these powers. These are still magical powers, but you're connected to the weave in a unique way. Like, whatever it is, whether... I still like it being divine. Power, like divine magic. I just don't like it being...
They should be divine the same way that druids are divine rather than the same way clerics are divine.
Yes. And because if you're going to go the way with the gods, then just commit to it. And I'm fine with the way that it was. I'm okay with it being about the gods. Be a Knight Templar, that's really cool. But if your god is evil, then be an evil paladin.
Yeah.
Just be within one step of whatever the morality is of the god, right? Instead of having to be lawful good, right? So, I don't know. That's me. There's a weird flavor thing, and I would want to sit down with my DM and be like, I like it, but what can I do here? So
fair enough. And that's all part of your Session Zero stuff, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Personally, I love the class. There are some little weird things like it making disease irrelevant, it making poison irrelevant. I actually like Aura of Protection, and I like where it is. But I do understand the argument against that. In terms of a class with the flavor, I absolutely love the Knight character. I have always loved playing a Knight character. And to me, fighters have never scratched that itch. When I think Knight, I think Paladin. I never think fighter. And I don't know why that is. Like,
it's because of the art in 3.5.
You think?
Fighter was wearing leather armor.
And had two weapons.
Yeah.
Well, maybe.
And the Paladin was aback a steed with glowing, gleaming armor and a giant fuck-off shield.
Yeah.
Right?
Please, I was like a shield that just says fuck off.
But I've also been a massive, I'm a massive Arthurian legend nerd. I that guy, to me, he could be a paladin. The fighter. The fighter art for Fifth. He very well could be a paladin with that. He's walking around with his spear, his shield, and his sword.
But it ain't this.
But he ain't that half-orc paladin of Torm that you see in friggin' the paladin...
In the Player's Handbook.
In the Player's Handbook.
Yeah.
Right? So, I mean, I love that idea of the character. I mean, paladins have always been rife with playing lawful...
I just say they look like the cleric. The cleric looks like a paladin. If he had a shield...
Yeah.
Yep.
Heavy armor is paladin, right? That's really the thing we're coming down to. Heavy armor and shield equals knight and also paladin.
That's true.
Yeah, I'd also say equals cleric just because of the past and what's in my head. I know clerics now don't even get heavy armor stock.
They even get shields? They must. Yes, they do.
Yeah. But really, your only heavy armor wearing classes in this book are fighter and paladin out the gate.
Mm-hmm.
I think you get it in some subclasses, don't you?
In some subclasses you do. Clerics get it in some subclasses.
Fighters, I believe, do.
Well, fighters get it stock.
Oh, all right.
So, fighters and paladins are the only ones.
Warlock?
Warlocks don't get heavy armor.
Not even Hexblade?
Nope.
No, none of that?
They get medium. The highest they get's medium. Barbarians, the highest they get's medium.
There's got to be a ranger.
Nope.
I'm not that familiar with the Xanathars. Look, I don't do classes, guys. I'm a DM all the time. I never get that. Right. I don't own a player's handbook. I own Monster Manual, Volos, and Mordenkainen.
That's okay, because I own 4. So, yeah.
This is my one book.
So, we're going to hit a commercial real quick, and then we're going to bust open these Player's Handbook Oaths.
You focus so hard on saying that.
Oaths.
Yes. Oaths.
I like it.
Anyways, a commercial.
Are you interested in advertising or becoming a sponsor on our show? Email us at info@itsamimic.com.
We are going to be moving on to discussing our each individual oaths. Did I say it right that time?
The subclasses, the oaths.
I don't think you'll ever say it right.
Oaths?
Oaths.
No, oaths.
Oaths?
Oaths.
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 Oath.
Oaths.
It's kind of like oats, but you hold the T a little bit longer in a softer way. Oaths.
Oaths.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
but
okay.
that's fine.
No, I'm good. Anyways.
I feel like you're saying with an L in it at this point.
Oaths.
Oaths is what you're saying.
We'll figure it out. Anyways, we each got to choose one. Paladins have 3 different subclasses in the Player's Handbook, which, am I wrong? Is that rare? That seems rare.
That's a lot. I mean,
That's
it's not
like-
rare, but there are some others that have it, but most of them have two.
Not including clerics and wizards because woof.
But don't barbarians have four?
Barbarians only have 2 in the player's handbook.
Mm-hmm.
Well, shit.
They have Totem and Berserker. That's it.
Is it in the classes? It is not in the table of contents.
No.
All right.
Your bards only in the player's handbook have lore and valor.
Valor, yeah.
Yep.
It's weird that paladins get 3. Anyways, we're going to move on. I've got the Oath of Vengeance. Adam, what you got?
They can wait until it gets to my turn in the initiative.
Well, no, fine. Let's roll dice and figure it out.
Okay.
Roll another
Now
6.
you roll a 6.
No, I rolled a 6 before.
You bitch.
So, Adam, what do you have with your 19 on the dice? Megan got a 13.
I'd hold my action, Dan.
No. None of that fucking bullshit again.
Is that an option?
No, it is not an option.
Okay.
Terry and I say it's an option. Dan, as an issue.
It defeats the purpose of rolling the dice.
Yeah, I also agree with Terry. Please don't tell him I said that. You can cut this out. And that I hate going last because I'm always worried everybody's going to think of the same thing that I've thought of, and I'm like patiently waiting for my turn.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it bites.
All right, so I've got Oath of the Ancients, and I'm really excited about the Oath of the Ancients because when I sat down, I went, oh, it's the Druid Paladin, but it's a little bit more than that. And the thing that I like about it is I'm going to go through the tenets of it right now, but the idea is that this is one of the most ancient orders of Paladins. And as much as you're not really a knight so much as a champion of an overall cause.
Yeah.
And this is the only thing that I've found anywhere in the entire player's handbook that focuses on the concept of joy. Everything else is about wealth or overcoming adversity or you're being really good at one specific skill you may have. You can steal really well, or you can craft really well, or you can meditate and get there's all these things. This is about emotion, and I really like this. There are 4 tenets. Through your acts of mercy, the first one is kindle the light. Through your acts of mercy, kindness, and forgiving, you kindle the light of hope in the world, and you beat back despair. This is about joy, and it is about hope. Dan, you always talk about how you like to be the hero character. Mm-hmm. That's what this is. He's here just to make the world better. The next one is shelter the light. The idea is that wherever there is anything good in the world, whether it's love or beauty or compassion, whatever it is, you're going to protect it. It's already there, but you're going to protect it. You preserve your own light. You know what makes you happy, and you take delight in other things, and you try to find more things to make you happy, and you protect it. And you be the light. You are a glorious beacon. And you help everyone else who feels any sort of dread or doom or despair. And you let light of your joy and courage shine forth in all your deeds. You are a hopeful leader. This isn't Druid. This is when the universe was created and there was the upper planes and the lower planes and the Feywild and the Shadowfell and everything, and the prime material plane and elves came into being and gnomes were coming out of the Feywild and all this. Somebody stood up one day and said, look, let's do good. And here's how we're going to do it. And we're going to be unwavering in our morality to do it. This isn't about any gods. This isn't about any warlock patrons. We're doing this for ourselves and to make the world a better place. This is the Superman build. And I think that's so cool because I didn't know it existed until I started researching this. You do get the ability to whoop some ass too. So you get bunch of different spells. You get Ensnaring Strike and Speak with Animals, Misty Step, Moonbeam, Plant Growth, Protection from Energy, Ice Storm, Stone Skin, Commune with Nature, and Tree Stride. So it doesn't feel to me so much as the Druid that's out there. See, my Druids are dark and evil and Celtic. You know, that they're sitting there smearing ash on their face as war paint and chanting to the pagan gods. This feels more monk, but sitting down in a field and breathing deep and just saying, this is okay, this is good. I have just spent enough time with nature, I know how the world works, and I have had all of this good karma that I'm giving to people, and nature's paying me back with this karma. I'm able to do tree stride. I can commune with nature. I can speak with animals just because, you know what? I'm going to listen. I'm going to observe how they're moving, and I'm going to speak with animals. I feel like this is, I don't know, it's so neat and weird and cool. So one of the things that we mentioned earlier was Channel Divinity. Every subclass gets a couple of additional channel divinity options as well for the paladin. So you gain 2. You get Nature's Wrath, which means that you can essentially ensnare a foe with like spiritual ensnaring strike, essentially, where they've got to use either strength or dexterity. They can choose to break free of these spiritual vines, essentially, that reach out and grab them. They're not real vines. This is the same thing as the spiritual weapon.
Yeah.
That
and it's to a creature that's within 10 feet of you.
Yeah, it's just like, hey, don't run away. I'm not done with you yet.
Yeah.
Right? You can also turn the Faithless, which you utter some ancient words that are painful for Fae or Fiends to hear. And this was weird to me. Not undead, right? Fae or Fiends. Fiends who are inherently evil no matter what, and Fae who I feel are about as pagan as you can normally get. So it's odd to me that Fae are involved in this as well.
I just had a thought.
Yeah.
And this could be something that the internet will scream, well, of course. So as much as fiends are inherently evil,
are Fae chaotic?
Inherently chaotic?
For the most part, there are some that do quite like law.
Oh, okay.
That, hey, these are our rules. They're weird rules, but they're our rules. And there's a lot of neutral in Fae as well, because they're very nature-based.
Yeah, fair enough.
But if you look at sprites, for example, I don't believe sprites are chaotic. I'd have to double-check on that, but I think they're...
Lawful.
Or at least neutral, because they're all about protecting gardens and things, right?
Okay.
So, the idea with this is that you utter a word, and they essentially get the frightened condition.
Don't touch my rutabagas!
No, I was more going to make a comment of, you remember that time we were in the Feywild? And I didn't use any of this?
No. Are you an Oath of Ancients Paladin?
Yeah.
What the hot shit?
I know. There's so many things about paladins, okay?
So the idea that I like with this is they got to make a wisdom save, which Fae don't have a whole lot of wisdom as the general rule, and neither do Fiends. They tend to be intelligence for Fiends or charisma for Fae, usually, generally speaking. But they've got to run away from you if they fail. They also can't take reactions, and they can only dash as an action to try to escape. If they can't dash anymore, then they've got to use up their action with a dodge. If they're using an illusion or they're shapeshifting or anything else that kind of mires what their true form is, that illusion drops and you can see their actual form. So that's at 3rd level. That's pretty powerful, especially against things like night hags and incubi and succubi and shit, right? That's just fiends. That's not devils. That's the whole fucking gamut.
All of them.
Yeah, I want to point out, whenever you're using a channel divinity effect or another effect within your class that requires them to make this says a wisdom saving throw, it's with your charisma. Same saving throw DC as your spells. That is detailed.
They use their wisdom.
They use their wisdom against your charisma DC.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to point that out in case there was any confusion. It's pointed out not in the Oath specific channel divinity entry, but in the base Paladins Sacred Oaths entry. It's in there. So
right. So the basic idea is that the charisma tells you what your power level is.
Yeah.
And then they have to save against that power level by using wisdom.
Yeah.
Right? They use their specific save or ability, right, to counteract your power level, which is indicative of your charisma.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so that's a better way.
I just wanted to be out there and for people to know.
You're right. That can be weirdly confusing for new players. At 7th level, you get the Aura of Warding, which means that you essentially have an Eldritch Ward on you, and you and anyone within 10 feet have resistance to damage from spells.
I'm very upset that Megan just told me she's an Oath of Ancients Paladin, and I'm sitting here like...
This one has come up a few times, and I have used it every once in a blue moon. But again, and it's one of those ones where it really only happens when you're fighting something with spells and you're in the area. And the only things we've really fought that have spells was like an Archmage, which I wasn't in the room for, and like other things that I'm not there for. It's usually area of effect things that get you.
This is going to be far more important. No, one sec. This is going to be far more important once we hit that next level. You hit 18th level, and then your aura is 30 feet.
30 feet, yeah.
Let me tell you, when I say that, I sit down for like 20 hours and think, what about Aura of Warding? You best believe that I put that amount of time into my maps. to specifically split you guys up on a regular basis, especially with spellcast.
How can I grapple Cora and move her away from her? So that's a good point for a DM to take that
Or
account.
what thing can I put on the other side of this gigantic room to tempt the rogue to run over here?
Yeah.
I know, it's Dan. I'll just put a puzzle over there. None of the rest of you are going to give a shit, and Dan's just going to take his pants off and shuffle over to where... He's going to drop Trow to his ankles and just shuffle at top speed over to it. Puzzle.
Yeah. But
I would argue with you, but you're not
I'm
that
not
far
wrong,
from
no.
the truth.
At 15th level, you get Undying Sentinel, which essentially means that, first of all, if you get dropped to 0, you pop back up with 1 hit point. Once you use the ability, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest.
So you can only almost die once a day.
This is that same thing that I was complaining about where it's impossible to kill a player, right? If I, as a DM, you are 15th level, so everything I am going to hit you with will have multi-attack. So I am going to try to, knock you down. On the first attack, I'm going to aim for the Paladin. On the second attack, no, fuck's not working. I'm going to hit the Barbarian instead because I want to go bang, bang against a 15th level Oath of Ancients Paladin. I want to be able to hit a second time on this round to keep them down, right? So whenever I see this, I'm thinking players really need to watch who's got multi-attack, right? If you go up against an archer, chances are they don't have it, right? Or something that's really, really beefy, chances are that they hit once hard, not many times medium, right? You don't want to be using this ability against a Merilith unless you absolutely have to. For example, because they get 7 attacks in a round, right?
Exactly, yeah.
I remember us talking about this one when I got it. Because we operate in a world where we kind of nerfed healing and resurrection spells. So it was like, would this work in our world?
Yeah.
And I can't remember what it was that we decided that it did. And
absolutely it works.
Yeah, okay.
Absolutely it works.
Cool.
Additionally, at this one, you suffer none of the drawbacks of old age and you can't be aged magically.
Are you immortal?
No, you still age. You don't suffer the drawbacks, and you can't be aged artificially or magically, which means...
So you're basically my great-grandma who was driving until she was 95.
You're
Yes.
a Super Saiyan. Or of the Saiyan race of Dragon Ball Z.
Okay, yeah, that makes 100%. Yeah, I'm with you.
I have no idea. When you turn 90, you're just like, oh, hey, you know what? I'm just going to drop dead. Today is my day. I'm done.
Yeah, then you go on a summer vacation on Kami's planet. Is that what it is? And then you decide that you want to leave, so you just hop off and resurrect yourself.
You're just saying a whole lot of things right now.
Terry is screaming the word nerd at the top of his lungs right now.
While he's sitting in traffic somewhere.
Yeah, right. And then,
This is for you,
but,
Terry.
But this is very similar to druids and monks and whatnot, this whole thing about aging. Guys, does aging come up in D&D? How often is this shit coming up?
I was trying to think of a magical spell that caused aging, and I couldn't think of one off the top of my head. So Wish would. Yeah, well, Wish does...
Yeah, Wish does stuff.
Stuff, yeah.
Right?
There is literally no spell other than, maybe between the lines and Wish that ages you.
I'm trying to think of, like a Wand of Wonder or, a Deck of Many Things. Do those have...
Yes, they do. They do.
The deck doesn't.
No?
The wand does.
Yeah, okay. So this... all this aging stuff, and some things just become immortal. Like other classes, you can just become immortal at level 18 or 20. But this isn't becoming immortal. It's just holding off the effects of age. I think what this is good for is if you are going to... You could choose to be 45 years old and go on a 5-year in-world campaign and hit 50 and go, no, I'm still as spry as I was when I was 20.
Yeah.
The DM's like, okay, everybody got older now, and here we go. When I'm returning to this character for a second campaign, this could be useful, but I don't know. And then at 20th level, you become the Elder Champion, which, first of all, means that you take on an aspect and an appearance of something natural, including it could be leafy beard or stone-looking skin, or they say lion's mane or antlers. I'm going to personally just have freaking hippo tusks. That's what I'm going to take for me. So, but
some goofy looking motherfucker.
Yeah.
Like Goofy, capital G.
Yeah.
Goofy. Who's just going to smite the shit out of you.
Yeah, but then you walk up and go, I am a champion of the forest.
I love it.
But you can also use, it's not just that. You can also use your action when you undergo this transformation for 1 minute, no concentration involved. You can regain 10 hit points at the beginning of your turn. You can cast any paladin spell that normally takes one action, now takes a bonus action. Or
That's so nice.
enemy creatures within 10 feet of you have disadvantage on saving throws against your paladin spells and your channel divinity spells. So, what is a paladin spell?
If you gain an oath spell that doesn't appear on the paladin spell list, the spell is nonetheless a paladin spell for you.
Yeah, is that what
It says verbatim in the book.
Beauty. That makes way more sense. I thought that was a bizarre oversight. So,
Yeah.
And then once you use this feature, you can only do it once per long rest.
I just see you moonbeaming motherfuckers like it's no tomorrow. Just like, moonbeam, 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 moonbeam.
But, like, all of this is really cool. At level 20, though, you're getting 2 sessions with this nonsense. This needs to be level 18. Right?
Well,
It's
this
way too
boils
late.
back to our united hatred of capstone abilities at level 20. Yes, I understand it's the end ability, but you don't get enough time to play with it, right? So I agree with you. There needs to be something at level 18, and then
I would even be content taking whatever the 20th level crazy bullshit that you can do and swapping it with the 19th level ASI, so that because at 20th level now you're going to use your opportunity to pick up that 1 feat that you've always wanted, you've been building towards, or you're like, you know what, I am going to have 3 ability scores at 20.
Yeah.
This is how I envisioned my character, and it's almost a mechanical boost just to cross your T's and dot your I's at that point, right? Mm-hmm. Instead of you getting these really cool badass powers you never get to use, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it really this the one aspect of this game that kind of bothers me is the fact that you hit level 20 and it doesn't matter how roleplay heavy your game is. You hit level 20, you are defeating the end boss and then wrapping up loose ends, and then that campaign's over and you're moving on, right? How do you play a long-term game at level 20?
You guys are level 17 right now, and I am racking my brain on encounters to be able to throw at you. And I'll tell you right now, the only thing that you can do is realize that everybody has all of these resources they're managing, and you need to look at what those resources are and not give them a short rest. Burn through those resources so level 20 is still scary. But even then, we burned through the resources, and now we have 183 hit points to burn through. And now we've burned through that, and so they popped a Lehman's tiny hut, and there's sweet fuck all you can do about it then, right? And even if you cave in the entire area, someone wish spells that nonsense away, right? Or we just time stop our way through the cave in and everybody walks away. Or like, there's all sorts of ideas to get out of the shit. I'm just going to true polymorph my way out of this nonsense. Or mass polymorph everyone to a badger we're going to dig out, right? Like, there are so many ways for a level 20, but again, these are all 9th level spells you get at level 18.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, these are good things from a spellcaster perspective. They get all their cool shit at level 18. For your martial classes, they get their cool shit at level 20. Mm-hmm. Right? Yeah. And I'm sitting here trying to build encounters going, fuck, what am I doing here? Before it's just a dungeon crawl that lasts 45 freaking years. Right? Because, let's just go play Mad Mage. Right?
Yep. And I will say, because me rereading this and realizing all the things that I have that I forgot that I had, in my mind, I'm just like, if you're a DM and you're planning for all these things, the likelihood of your team member remembering they have that.
Yep. That's fair enough.
So, you're like, okay, they might use this, but what's the likelihood they'll remember they have it?
Yeah. There's an ability Lockie's had since day one that I have never used.
Indomitable.
Oh, I'm terrible with Indomitable.
But I'm glad you say that because it makes you feel less terrible reading
Yeah.
this.
Well, we had a barbarian that didn't rage for 12 and a half sessions.
Oh, yeah, I remember saying
Right? Like, there are definitely things that people forget. When you get screwed and you go, oh god, what can I do? Everyone flips to their items list.
Yes.
And everyone flips to their spell list, and nobody looks at their class features.
Right?
So,
yeah.
Anyways,
so Megan, you're
that's
next.
Me, yeah.
Yeah, Megan, you're next.
Cool. So I'm doing the Oath of Devotion, which I would say is kind of like your classic Knights of the Round Table, Lancelot, like that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. You're definitely your holier than thou class.
But Dan's going to play the halfling, so he's Lance a little.
So funny. So funny.
Hey, I'm with you. Yeah. Even though I have said repeatedly, I fucking hate halflings. Yes.
Sorry. We'll do
God damn it, Dan and Megan.
I'm sorry. In my defense, I had some kind of a form of bronchitis, so suck on that, Dan.
I've been back to work.
There it is. Yeah.
There you go. Turn off. But yes, this is kind of like your classic White Knight, your Holy Warrior. I was actually thinking like Jedis, stuff like that. Like if you want to get into a sci-fi world.
Look, you're the White Knight. Oathbreaker's the Black Knight, and my guy's the Gawain the Green Knight, I guess.
We'll go Green Knight, yeah.
Yeah, sure.
And so we'll get to whatever Dan's got.
Oath of Vengeance is Lancelot.
It's the Red Knight. It's the blood-soaked.
Yeah, it's the damage dealer.
All right, so Megan.
Yeah, so this is kind of like the paladin that's going to hold themselves to the highest of standards. So this is your one that I find would probably bring a lot of conflict to your party. Especially if they're playing the holier than thou right out the gate and going strong and hard on this roleplay.
How many people in the car just started to rage? Being, I know.
So I just
The Oath of Devotion is going to come with the caveat: there is such a thing as lawful stupid, and please don't play it.
Yes, Lawful Stupid is definitely on that table, and it's stupid to play against.
That big round table,
right? The Knights of the Round Table.
Yeah.
Thanks, King Arthur. Yeah.
Don't encourage him.
So the thing about them
Please
is they
encourage me.
also, and then what causes that conflict is that they are supposed to hold everybody else around them to that same standard. So if you are playing a devotion paladin to the T and you are with a group of scoundrels, you are going to have a bad time.
You're the guy that they just, okay, before we start any sort of heist, how do we get the paladin to look the other direction for
Right?
20 minutes?
I had an experience where I was playing with a devotion oathed paladin who was a police officer, so literally abiding by the law. And to do anything with him in the group and trying to convince him to do it was the hardest thing we've ever... That was the hardest part of doing that process. It was just the worst. So that comes with their tenets of devotion would be their honesty. So obviously they can't lie, they can't cheat, and their word is their promise. So if they say they're going to do something, they are by oath supposed to do it. Courage, they never fear to act, though caution is wise. So I don't know, this is one that they kind of play with, is that they're courageous, but they're intelligent. And they're just like, well, when is courage a good time to use it?
Yeah, I'm totally going to go save everybody over there as soon as the dragon's gone.
Yeah.
Because I can't help anyone if I'm already dead.
Right?
Yeah.
So they're intelligent about it. So if you're thinking about putting an intelligence stat into a paladin, this is probably the paladin you want to do it with, unless you just roleplay it out that way.
I mean, the word's literally wisdom.
Literally.
So, like, this is you boosting your wisdom
Yeah,
stat.
I guess that's true.
I like it. I don't know. I like it as like, you know, the history of the region. You know the lore of the area, and so and Dan's like, but now you're a Lord Bard. But no, you know the local lore, and you're like, hey, this dragon comes back every 50 years.
Yeah.
They kill it, and it still comes back every 50 years. I'm not going to chase this guy off into the woods to get the final blow in. He's just going to come back anyway.
Yeah.
I'm going to stay here and deal with the damage he's done. I think that makes a lot of sense for, like, I think you're right with the intelligence. You just have to know which intelligence, or like which
You can
knowledge you're
roleplay
going
it
to...
if you really want to put it into that way, right? Compassion. So they aid others, protect the weak, and punish those who threaten them. Show mercy to your foes, but temper it with wisdom. So this is the one that's going to be like, I'm not going to kill you. This will be the non-lethal damage type paladin. They'll keep you alive to either help you find the light or get you on the right side of things. They will try to convince you to be a good person before they will kill you.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you guys would agree with that, or what your thoughts are.
Yes.
To an extent.
To an extent. Okay, so this raises the question of, is every goblin evil?
Yeah.
Right? And that's an interesting question, and I think different tables play it different ways.
Yeah.
If you have a language in my world, then you have enough intelligence to have your own morality, but you probably swing in one direction.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm going to be covering a lot of this with the Oath of Vengeance as well.
Sure.
Because there's an aspect of paladins that, and this goes into the lawful stupid thing, so I'll just bring it up now. Being a paladin does not give you the permission to commit genocide,
Or to rat out your friends
Or to
that are
rat
in the
out your
middle of a
friends.
heist.
Yeah.
Right? If you're like, all right, I'm a lookout, and then the guard walks by, you go, and like, what are you doing here? Well, my friends are sitting there and they are going through, like, they're going and they're robbing the bank right now.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to fight you because you asked. That is the wrong way of playing a paladin.
Well, I
that's
mean,
pretty
perfect
funny.
example was literally in our last session, my paladin was being interrogated, and our group of band of idiots have done a lot of dumb things. So she's not lying in her interrogation, but she's not throwing them under the bus.
I just
Deception by omission
Yeah.
is a factor.
I just want to say thank you that it's a band of idiots and not that idiot gnome has done a bunch of shit.
Well, I would like to say that Acra is not in that. Acra is just Acra.
Which
Yeah,
means
fair
that
enough.
of the three of you currently, that Oh, it was just the gnome, Dan.
It's just the gnome.
Let's be honest, I did spend 10 minutes trying to do a whole James Bond villain reveal.
Oh,
Yeah.
God. That's true. You did spend a lot of time on that. Anyways,
And failed at it.
And horribly.
I'm glad that you forced it to fail,
Yeah.
by the way.
You're welcome.
Thank you. The other piece is honor. So they treat others with fairness, obviously. Let your honor deeds be an example to them. Do as much good as possible while causing the least amount of harm. So I feel like this does leave a little bit of wiggle room for like freedom of choice when it comes to how you operate in certain situations as a paladin.
I feel like you're going to tie up the bandits and leave them tied to a tree with the wanted poster nailed to the tree above their heads for the next person to please take them into town.
Yeah.
Right? If it says wanted dead or alive, I will knock you unconscious and then the next person can bring you in alive.
Right.
And but again, at what point is that stupid? Right? Mm-hmm. And so
but I think that's a part of just like the least amount of harm. So like I feel like if you were to think of your compassion and your courage and have that freedom to wiggle room with it, at what cost? And again, I do like to like I'll delve into a little bit when I talk about my ideas for paladins. It kind of dives into the how did you get your devotion, where did you get it from, and why did you devote yourself to it? And then how does that create that conflict between you and the people you're trying to save or not save, right?
Yeah, the thing that I like about paladins, even as much as monks, these guys are your philosophers.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And they're going to get into it not about follow my God, but is that really the way that you would handle that? Are there not better ways? Mm-hmm. And every single one of them, from their own perspective, each one of these subclasses would look at it like
for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And then duty, be responsible for your actions. Obviously, you're going to protect those that are around you as much as you possibly can, and obey those who do have authority over you. So you do respect line of command. I think that's a big piece of it.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, and then the oath spells for these guys here, they are very health like pool oriented or protection oriented. So like protection from good and evil, your sanctuary, restoration, beacon of hope, freedom of movement, guardian of faith, and then commune obviously, and then like flame strike. So all those things are very holier than thou is how I feel about their
Flame strike
list.
comes out of left field.
I know, right? Weird.
Protection from good and evil, sanctuary, zone of truth, beacon of hope, flame strike.
Right?
Like,
I feel like that's your last ditch effort on
yeah, that's your I've been trying to help you for as long as I possibly can.
Now you die.
So now
the cleansing fire.
yeah.
I love it. Sorry?
There is one thing, I'm just checking this really quick because something seems weird.
Yes, Daniel? What would that thing be, Daniel?
Oh, okay, cool. I've always thought Sanctuary was self-only. It's not. You can cast it on other people. So that tracks.
Cool.
Yeah, I just like casting Sanctuary on yourself as a paladin doesn't fit.
It does if you are like dueling them or compelling them to duel you.
Oh, that's just a cheap move. And also they're both concentration, so you couldn't do that. But still.
Well, if someone else decides to give you sanctuary.
Yeah, right?
Cool.
There you go.
What else do we have, Megan?
So that goes to their channels of divinity. So the first one they get at third level is going to be their sacred weapon, which basically they just kind of imbue one weapon with a like positive energy is what it kind of describes it as. So for 1 minute, you kind of add your charisma modifier with, of course, a minimum of 1. The weapon then emits a bright light or a 20-foot radius with dim light for 20 feet beyond that. So it just basically makes a bright light weapon.
You get sting.
For 1 minute.
1 minute, yeah.
1 minute per long rest.
Yeah.
But add your charisma modifier to attack rolls for a minute.
Sorry, I said that wrong, yes.
This is the most useful channel divinity, in my opinion.
At level 3, absolutely.
Especially, like, right out the gate at level 3.
Yeah.
Like, for 1 minute, you get a plus minimum 3, because let's be honest, you got at least a 16. Right? To your attack rolls.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. That's useful. That means you're hitting.
Yeah, but I mean, at level 3, you're doing a lot of dungeon crawls and whatnot. And for 1 minute per long rest, you're saving this for your big boss or for your big mob.
Yep, fair enough.
Right, so it's not every battle that you're doing this. This is a resource you're managing pretty closely.
I love it.
What's the other one?
Turning the unholy. So as an action, you present your holy symbol and speak a prayer censoring fiends and undead.
This is the first mention of holy symbols that we've seen at all in Paladins.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Well, they had it.
It is your spellcasting focus. You use a holy symbol
Yeah.
for your spells. Level 2.
And spellcasting.
Thank God. Okay, yeah, I think you skimmed over that.
I thought I mentioned it. Okay.
But, okay, then I wasn't listening to you. I'm not throwing you under the bus on this. I'm just like, that's it? That's all we're talking about with holy symbols for this holy class? And again, we're just back to gods again. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And as much as it's of devotion, a lot of this other stuff isn't devotion god level stuff. It's fucking flame strike, right? Like there's
well, it is the textbook definition of holy smite, right? Is a flaming strike from the heavens.
Yeah.
Right.
So what this does is each fiend or undead you see within 30 feet of you need to make a wisdom saving throw. So you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but in most fiends and those kinds of things, wisdom saving throws for them is not an easy feat, or am I incorrect in that thought?
Their wisdoms tend to be their lowest thing.
Yeah?
No, not undead. Intelligence and charisma are tanked. Their wisdom is okay because their perception of the natural world
I guess you're fair.
is all right. And some fiends, your high-level fiends, anything above a CR 12 is going to have a pretty good wisdom as well because they've got crazy perception nonsense.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the other cool piece about it is that any creature that is turned needs to try and move away from you, essentially.
It's the same. It's a frightened thing again.
It's scared of you, it moves away from you. It can only use dash action, so on and so forth. So it runs away for you for a while, which is really cool. So if you are in a horde of undead, it's quite handy, especially if you've got a bunch of squishies around you. So
yeah. But I mean, if you're surrounded and there are 8 around you and they're rolling a save, let's say zombies, their wisdom's not great, but it's not terrible. You're probably still gonna have 3 attacking you. 5 of them will run.
It's true.
So it's not a get out of jail free.
It is also they aren't frightened; they are just running away.
Yeah.
Okay.
They don't have the frightened condition, but it acts like the frightened condition.
Yeah.
Except the frightened condition, you have disadvantage to attack when you are frightened.
Essentially, it's not afraid of you; it's afraid of the effect you've put on it.
Yeah. So it's just trying to get away from
the effect.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa, there's lights and stuff. I'm out of here.
We're gonna see the flip side to this with Oath of Vengeance.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that brings us into the awesome abilities that come with the Aura of Devotion. So this is their 7th level ability, and you and friendly creatures within 10 feet of you can't be charmed, which is pretty dope.
So you get what was...
At 7th level, you can't get charmed.
Within 10 feet.
Within
the
10
aura
feet.
is only 10 feet, though.
Okay, so correct me if I'm wrong, but the Devotion, Oath of Devotion, is probably the most popular of the Paladin.
It's the most stereotypical,
It's
I'd
your
say.
White Knight. So if you want to play a Paladin and you want to play it right, usually people go
If you're playing a holy warrior character, but not like, foaming at the mouth for the kill, you're playing an Oath of Devotion.
Yeah.
So you get Aura of Protection at 6th level, which I complained about being overpowered. Aura of Devotion at 7th level. And then your Aura of Courage at 10th level. Not to mention the Aura spells that you get.
Yeah.
You're just consistently radiating shit as...
But you did with Aura of Warding as well at 7th level.
Yeah, no, I know. But my point is that you are always just like radiating this
You are a beacon.
field. Yeah.
This feels like Diablo 2.
Yeah, a little bit. I miss the Aura of Thorns. I feel like one of these should have that.
Yep.
Anyways.
I agree.
All right. Purity of Spirit would be the next one. So at 15th level, this is what you get. And you are always under the effects of Protection from Evil and Good Spell, which is pretty cool.
Didn't we do that before with Divine Sentinel? Oh, no. That was Detect Evil and Good. This is Protection.
This is Protection. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So if I am correct off the top of my head with what Protection from Evil does, you have a +2 AC. You cannot be under any mind effect spell.
That seems like a lot. I don't think that's correct. But
Protection from Evil and Good. One willing creature you touch, so this will be you. Protected from certain types. So you have to choose aberrations, celestials, elementals, fae, fiends, or undead. And un. You're protected from all of them, not one of those types.
Yeah.
So as long as this... And sorry, you're always?
Always.
Jeebus.
So you get +2 AC.
They have disadvantage on attack rolls against you. You can't be charmed, frightened, or possessed. And if you're already charmed, frightened, or possessed, you have advantage on saving throws. But you're always under this protection, so you can't be in the first place. So there's no plus to AC.
This is massive. You always have the dodge action.
Right, but there's no bonus to AC. You said plus
the 3.5.
It's a disadvantage to hit.
Yeah, 3.5 give you +2 AC. So this one gives you disadvantage. So you are always under the dodge action.
But this is level 15. We have to remind you.
Yeah, you're top tier 3.
You're getting there. Yeah.
Yeah,
But that's also when you're fighting aberrations and fiends and celestials and shit.
But I feel
right?
like as a holier than thou warrior, as you're developing yourself, like, oh man, I'm fighting a lot of fiends. I should really figure out a way to protect myself from this.
No, I think it tracks, especially power level along the board, because you get the free stand-up ability at level 15 for your Oath of Ancients, and we'll check what Vengeance does, and Vengeance is on par with this.
I feel like the stand-up ability is very weak and conditional comparatively.
Fair enough. Especially without you get the added caveat of not having the drawbacks from age and not being able to age magically, but we've already talked about
Who gives a fuck?
who gives a fuck.
Yeah, so any time that the player's handbook says the word always or the word never, I go, okay, bitches, stop everything and look at this closely.
Yeah.
That's too much. Everything should be conditional. And so this thing, wow, this is overpower, right? Even at level 15. This just feels powerful. This is powerful for level 20 because who are your big bads? What are your big bads? Like, I have to throw dragons now. You guys are tier 4. And this is a dragon campaign now. Oh my god, that's all I can do.
Dragon's not part of that list?
No.
Nope.
Anyways.
What do you get at level 20 there?
So your level 20 is going to be your Holy Nimbus. This
Yeah,
is adorable. You're basically just a giant ball of light. For 1 minute, bright light shines from you in a 30-foot radius, and dim light shines 30 feet beyond that. So basically 60 feet you are visible, which I think is hilarious.
Whoa. I wish you could turn this off.
Yeah, like, do I really want to have that light on all the time? Let's be real. I like being a spotlight, so it's fine.
Yeah.
This little light of mine.
Yeah, basically. Whenever an enemy creature starts its turn in the bright light, though, the creature takes 10 radiant damage. In addition, for the duration, you have advantage on saving throws against spells cast by fiends or undead specifically. So basically, you are good against the dark and the dangerous because you are a beacon of light and hope.
So, does this undermine then the sacred weapon, which gives you the 20-foot radius light and the 20-foot dim light as well?
For the light aspect, for sure, but I feel like the sacred weapon, it's the addition to your attack rolls that makes it worth it.
Yeah, I would just probably I wouldn't use both of these features at the same time, is my point.
Yeah.
Right? You do have a couple of inherent ways to cast light without casting light. You'd feel that light would be one of the fucking spells you get.
Right?
Right? But
At some
You don't get
point?
cantrips. so
you
why
don't
would
get cantrips, right? But you'd think that there's all sorts of subclasses throughout this player's handbook that's like, oh, you automatically get this cantrip. Right, it's just one of the things. I feel like that should be...
Yeah,
It feels
I'm
like
with
it
you.
is. It's missing.
Cool. I love that. Just this radiating friggin' pillar of holiness.
You are a spirit bomb.
Yep.
Hey, do you guys know where Megan is?
Yeah, she's right there.
It's Mr. Burns walking through the forest after
Oh,
he's
yeah,
been
yeah.
irradiated.
Let's just use all the references for everybody, every audience member to know.
All right, last but certainly not least is the Oath of Vengeance. These are your edgelordy paladins. Let's be completely honest. These are your guys who want to play a paladin to deal damage and be a holy avenger level character. Your tenets are to always fight the greater evil.
Tenets. There's no second N.
All right, your tenets.
Thank you.
Is to always fight the greater evil, which plays out in the sense of if you are faced with the choice of fighting a Glabrezu and a skeleton, you're going to go towards the Glabrezu. However, if the skeleton is the greatest evil in the room, you'll go towards the skeleton.
Oh, that is... no, fighting my sworn foes.
Not when faced with the choice of fighting my sworn foes or combating a lesser evil, I choose the greater evil. Right? You just choose the greater evil.
Well, but it says specifically the sworn foes, so that if a Glabrezu that you've never seen before and a skeleton you've never seen before walk in, you might still take out the skeleton first, because I could do that in 6 seconds or less before I go stomp this asshole. But if the Glabrezu's running away and the skeleton's walking towards you, you may go after the escaping demon, right? So I hear what you're saying on this, but I'm really going to lean into the sworn foes, right?
Yeah.
I as a DM, I see this as someone's tenant, and I go, oh, good. Oh, I'm going to have recurring villains. I'm going to give you sworn enemies.
Yeah.
And that's
and as this is mechanically bent towards that as well.
Yeah.
So you also have no mercy for the wicked, where your ordinary humanoid might win your mercy, but your sworn foe doesn't. Right? Your sworn enemies do not get mercy.
Okay. All right.
And this is where I was going to bring up the whole fact that you being a paladin does not mean you can say your sworn enemy is goblins.
No, you choose that goblin over
It's
there.
that goblin. I would even go so far as a DM to accept that tribe of goblins.
Yeah, this warband of gnolls
of
tore
gnolls,
down
right?
the orphanage.
But
Sure.
the entire race, genocide is not on the table. Right? And how that plays out is if you are a paladin and you come across a random evil creature that does not give you the right, the authority, the permission to just kill that evil creature right out.
I would also say that you should be completely open to the idea of taking people off your list. I would make you have a real list.
Yeah.
As a DM, I'm like, what's your Aria list?
Yeah.
Give me your Aria list, and if she can take the Hound off of it, so can you.
Exactly. Next, you get by any means necessary, which means my moral qualms, my legal qualms will not get in the way of pursuing my foe.
You can't kill him. We're in the Feywild. So?
Yeah. He's in that building that he owns that's locked up. So I will break and enter to kill him.
Let's burn the building down.
Right? Like, this is why I say this guy's a little edgelordy. Because you will almost go out of the way to break your qualms as a paladin of vengeance. It just will happen. Next is Restitution, which if you fail and your foe wreaks havoc, you take the blame on yourself and you will seek to restore by any means necessary the damage he has done to the world.
So don't have this guy hold your bag of gold.
Exactly.
Group loot should not be a factor with the...
No, because this guy will be like, oh, you burned down that orphanage? Well, we are going to go rebuild that orphanage then.
Here's this bag of money that I stole
Here's this
from
bag.
Rogue.
Here's this bag of money. That is all of our party's gold.
And here's the wizard's staff and the barbarian's
Yeah.
codpiece.
Yeah, all the things that are important.
Unwashed, it's worth a lot.
Yeah. So this guy is
He's got repelling blast.
Ew.
so in terms that's his tenets. He's there to take down his sworn enemies, and if his sworn enemies win, it breaks him emotionally. So I like how they added that last one in. It adds a little bit more depth to this. Otherwise, it was just I'm going to kill it, I'm going to kill it, I'm going to kill it, I'm going to kill it.
Well, I feel like that balances out with the Holier Than Thou Paladin, because if the Holier Than Thou Paladin breaks their oath or does something stupid, they have to pay a penance, like a penance towards it.
Exactly.
So this gives them that option,
A
even
way
though
to
they're
break it, yeah.
constantly being
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
evil,
100%. yeah.
right?
So in terms of oath spells at 3rd level, you get Bane and Hunter's Mark.
That tracks. I like it.
Yeah. If it's close to you, it's hurting. If it's far away from you, you'll find it. At 5th level, they get Hold Person and Misty Step. If it's close to you, it's hurting. If it's far away from you, you'll get to it. At 9th level, you get Haste and Protection from Energy. I'll catch you, and you're not going to be able to do anything you're not going to be able to do anything to me. At 13th level, you get Banishment and Dimension Door.
Go to hell. I'm coming too.
Yeah. At 17th level, you get Hold Monster and Scrying. Stay there. I'll always be watching. Paladins with Scrying. That's odd, but I love it for these guys because they're always chasing after their sworn foes.
And 17th level.
And also 17th level.
Right. So that's... Everybody else is casting level 8 spells and you're sitting there playing with Scry.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Abjure Enemy so you get your Channel Divinity next. Your first of those is your ability to abjure your enemy, which is within 60 feet of you, you choose a creature. That creature makes a wisdom saving throw. And if it fails, it's frightened. Fiends and undead have disadvantage on this roll. And it gets the frightened condition. For 1 minute.
This guy's just like Ghost Rider, right?
Oh, yeah.
No, because I remember, I forget which one I think it was the first one. Nicolas Cage just like steps off his motorcycle and he's not Flamehead yet, so he just like points and goes, "You!" And the bad guy's like shit and run. That's what this is.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. 100%. And I like to point out that if you are frightened, it's they add a little bit of caveat. Your speed is 0. So if you frighten somebody with that your enemy,
Their speed is 0.
their speed is 0.
Okay.
They stay put. Now this effect is broken if they take any damage, and they still have the ability to attack those around them, although at disadvantage because of frightened. But they stay put. And if they succeed the save, their speed is still halved. So this guy is going to get you, is basically what this is. If you are 2 turns of movement away, he's slowing you down enough to catch up or to get you next turn. Right? Your next option is Vow of Enmity. Vow of Enmity is badass because for 1 minute, you choose a creature within 10 feet of you, and you get advantage on attack rolls. Period. Against that creature. Mix that with a little bit of, I don't know, rogue. Or mix that with a little bit of, I don't know, champion fighter. This gets amazing pretty damn quick. And it doesn't come with the same barbarian thing where now you have disadvantage, everything has advantage against you as well. I really like Vow of Enmity. And it's 1 minute per long rest. Let's be completely honest, it's not overpowered. But it is definitely that I'm saving this for my sworn enemy and I'm going to destroy that asshole. That's what this is. At 7th level, you get your Relentless Avenger, which means when you hit a creature with an opportunity attack, you can move half your distance, half your speed, to catch up with them. This movement does not provoke attacks of opportunity against you.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm not going to deal with this horde of idiots. You deal with them, I'm out.
Yeah,
this guy, right?
This guy is my focus,
This is it.
and he may try to run away from me, but I will catch him.
Yeah.
So this is really good if you've already dropped Hunter's Mark on him as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thematically, it stacks, is my point.
Yeah, it very much does. At 15th level, you get the Soul of Vengeance, which means your I like how they phrase this. The authority of which you speak your vow of enmity gives you greater power over your foe. So at that 1 use of Vow of Enmity, it now adds on top of it the fact that you can now attack as a reaction against your Vow of Enmity.
If it is in range.
If it's within range.
Obviously, yeah.
And with a melee weapon.
Yeah, so it's not like you can, flip a bow and arrow at it for certain.
No.
Yeah.
But it stacks with the Vow of Enmity ability because it's just an addition to Vow of Enmity.
Yeah.
So you get a reaction to hit them with advantage for anytime they attack anything with them within 1 minute.
Yeah.
That's what that is.
That's pretty cool.
But the thing is, whenever they make an attack, you can smoke it.
That's assuming that they're within reach of you. And it doesn't say melee attack. It just says attack.
When they make an attack, you have to make a melee attack.
Right, but they don't have to make a melee attack is my point.
No. But the thing is, they can... there's so much of this class that is about pursuing and getting in melee combat with things.
Okay, so I got a question for you. If I decide to turn you to stone, I'm a Medusa and I turn you to stone with an action, right? Did I attack you? If I throw up a force cage around you, did I attack you? Or are you looking for the word make a spell attack in the spell?
I think so.
Yeah. I think that you're looking for that word.
If it's a spell attack or an attack action, you get to use this.
Okay, a lot of the stuff. So if it's part of a multi-attack, obviously that works. If
it's a ray or if it's a smite or if it's like green flame blade, like those kind of things, shocking hands, even
there's gonna be things like if you create water in someone's lungs, is that an attack?
No.
I would say yes, just because you're purposefully doing harm to someone. You were saying, and now hurt, right? So I'm not gonna what is it? The tentacles that grab you, the vines that grab you.
Arms of Hadar.
Does that one do damage?
Maybe.
One of them does damage, one of them doesn't. If it doesn't do damage, then...
Arms of Hadar doesn't, Grasp does. Both of them are off Hadar.
You spoke words and I did not understand.
Those are Warlock spells.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do it again.
Arms of Hadar, I believe is what it's called.
Yeah.
Does not do damage. Grasp of Hadar does, I believe.
First of all, it's Hadar. I'm just fucking with you, Dan. I'm just fucking with you. It's okay. We love you, Dan. And Warlock Arms and I saw this Hunger of Hate.
Hunger. That's what it is.
Not Grasp.
Yeah.
So one of them does, one of them doesn't. But my point is that I would say that it has to do damage. Purposefully do damage. Right? If I cause an earthquake, right, and you take a bunch of damage from the earthquake, then of the ground shaking, then yes, I did it. I dropped that building on you. But if I'm just like using thaumaturgy, that's not gonna, like, I may make the room rumble, but it's not gonna make
exactly. No, yeah, I'm with you. So I'm looking for that word attack. I think
it's not gonna say it in every circumstance because I can mold earth out from underneath you and drop you into the lava. Right? That's an attack. Yeah. Right? Even though I just molded earth.
Well, just it's one of those things that you communicate with your DM.
Yeah.
And just because I could see a player being...
I feel like a DM could rules lawyer the way out of this.
And a player can rules lawyer their way into it. So you have to set ground rules. And when this comes up as an ability at level 15... You should have
clear, open communication.
You should have clear, open communication with your DM.
Yeah.
Okay? At 20th level, you get to be an avenging angel. You sprout wings for 1 hour... You sprout wings from your back and gain a fly speed of 60. You emanate an aura of menace for 30 feet around you, which the first time any creature enters it or starts their turn within it must succeed on a wisdom saving throw or become frightened of you.
All right, so besides the fly, which is really cool... You're just causing more frightened nonsense?
Yep.
I feel like every Scourge ASMR wants this.
Mm-hmm. Get your wings back.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. Yeah, I like it.
Cool.
There you go.
I like it because it's very focused and there's nothing that's really quite like this that in any of the other classes. Hunting you, even the hunter doesn't hunt like this, right?
With that much aggression.
This to me is the good version of Michael Myers from Halloween. He's just always coming and will.
That's literally what I was thinking of when I was thinking of like him, like it's that slow walk.
It's that slow, relentless.
It's a T-1000.
Yeah. It has this really cool motif. However, it leans towards edgelordy, and there are some things that you need to be careful of as a DM and as a player for this.
I as a DM, will look down at this and go, oh, bitches, I'm a split a party.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I'm a split a party.
Yep.
There's going to be pressure trigger, portcullises dropping left, right, and center.
Let's be real. Parties split themselves. You don't even have to do that.
You're not wrong.
Dan, that's your only defense.
Hey. Anyways, we're going to move on to a quick little shout-out before we continue on with some character builds. We have mentioned before we are a Canadian podcast based specifically out of Vancouver. And we've decided that we want to be able to kind of support other local nerds and everything else like that. And we're going to start off with Ghost Fox Dice. That is one word on Instagram, at Ghost Fox Dice. They are a local LGBT positive, supportive dice manufacturing company. It's a couple guys who just are passionate nerds. They're massive Adventure Zone and Critical Role nerds. I had a good little talk with the guy. I met him when I was buying coffee at Starbucks. I met Gray there, and he's a great guy. So I just want to shout them out.
How did you meet? How did you just walk up to random strangers in Starbucks, Dan, and
Okay, so they had a Taz Balance tattoo on their arm, and when he handed me my pumpkin spice latte,
I have no idea what that means.
I know. When he handed me
basic, by the way.
Yeah.
I had to say.
Yeah. I was about to say, and I'm a basic white bitch. But he had a Taz Balance tattoo, and I mentioned, hey, is that a balance thing? And we had a 10-minute conversation while my coworkers stood awkwardly off to the side, having no idea what we were talking about.
Well, every other person in line at Starbucks was like, can you please fuck off?
Fortunately, it was slow because it was early on in the morning. But
okay, Megan, I have sworn off pumpkin spice anything this season, and I've got about 7 other people that have joined me on the internet. There's almost we're starting a movement here. Dan and Terry are both basic bitches. Will you join me with swearing off pumpkin spice? for the rest of the season.
I
know it's a big ask for people because it's seasonal, but it's obviously a marketing capitalist bullshit campaign for something that doesn't really taste like pumpkin.
Are you specific to pumpkin spice lattes or pumpkin spice other objects?
Other objects, except you can eat a pie.
That's what I'm thinking. Like,
You can have a pumpkin pie
love
because
a
you're having a
pumpkin
pumpkin pie. You're having a pumpkin pie flavored fart or whatever shit that they're selling now. Your air fresheners and nonsense.
I would like to point out.
I don't care what you want to point out, you basic bitch.
Oh, baby. Yeah, you basic.
I'm kind of.
I can join
I
your
miss
movement.
you, Terry. Terry, I miss you. I need help on this
I can
one.
join your movement in the sense that I will never get a pumpkin spice latte.
Okay.
But
That's because
do,
you work for the competition.
yeah. So I'm not really a coffee and pumpkin spice kind of gal.
Okay.
Because I'm more on the tea side of things in life. However,
My wife did just
do
All right.
love a good pumpkin tea. But we actually use pumpkin in the tea.
Is it pumpkin or is it pumpkin spice?
It's pumpkin.
The pumpkin is fine.
Okay, then I'm good.
It's this
then I can
pumpkin
join your
spice
movement.
All
I'm
right,
in on
cool.
it. Yeah, we're in it.
Excellent.
Yeah, I am not a basic bitch.
8 members.
8. Well, the thousands of people around that
sell
love
you
pumpkin spice
you corporate whore.
muffins and pumpkin spice lattes and pumpkin spice.
Just open your mouth wider and have it drizzle into your face.
I
man.
would love it. It would be great. All over my chin and chest. It'd be
Next,
fine.
you're going to be wearing like a white long sleeve shirt with a puffy black jacket and like boots up to your knees.
and skin tight blue jeans.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah. I have my
It's Han Solo season,
hair
everybody.
up in a bun. What I was going to say is the second eggnog lattes are on the table. Pumpkin spice is dead to me.
I do love eggnog.
I'm all over eggnog.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. At least we have eggnog.
We all love eggnog.
Anyways,
Eggnog is a seasonal tradition.
Anyways.
Pumpkin spice is fun. All right, I'm done.
Yeah.
friends who are listening to the podcast, go sign up and follow Ghost Fox Dice. One word on Instagram. They're just getting set up. They're just getting established, and they need that base of followers to really encourage them to move forward here. I would love to see another Vancouver-based, nerd-focused community and people in the community really be supporting this.
So they're on Instagram? Or
They're on
else?
Instagram. All I know right now is Instagram.
Okay, I'm sure their information's online.
Oh, yeah. It's on their website.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
There you go.
We still have to talk about character builds.
Yes.
So let's grab our dice. We're all old hats at this point. We are talking about interesting character builds for paladins and how to break or support the tropes. Roll the dice.
12?
Oh, 9.
I've gone last every single farking time.
Did you say farking?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, so first and foremost, character build. I'm going to stay with the Oath of Ancients because I absolutely love it. I really think that you could pair this nicely with a bard, just because of the idea of spreading the word, spreading the joy, spreading hope. The idea of constantly getting up in front of a group of people and saying, hey, you know what, it's going to be okay. I would absolutely love to play a version of this character who's a bit of a therapist, who wanders through places that have been corrupted and desecrated and just sits there and goes, hey, it will be okay and we're going to help. This is your front man of your party if you're playing a standard good adventuring like party, right?
Yep.
They're gonna step up, and they got the charisma to back it, right? They're gonna step up and gonna say, "Hey, look, we know it's shitty. Hey, they got your daughter, and we know that, but we're gonna get her back, right? It's really easy, and here's how we're gonna do it, right? And there will be, and we may not have that figured out yet, but we will because this stuff just works out. And my Oath of Ancients is not pitching a god; they're pitching a feeling. Are you sick and tired of being scared? If the answer is yes, why not move within the city walls? And we can help you get set up in some sort of business here. We know the shopkeepers will put in a good word for you. This is the kind of person that I'm looking for, right? The actual charity that's involved. And I'm 100% going to lean into the halfling to do it. Even though they only get a dex modifier, I think Lightfoot gets the charisma, so mechanically it doesn't quite stack the same way that you may want it to, but the halflings are the happy race. They're the ones that are going to sit there and say, hey, you know what? Yes, it is going to be okay. And we're going to do it. I don't know how we're going to do it. I'm going to roll and do oh, hey, you know what? I got pretty lucky on that. Hey, yeah, all right, cool. This worked out. And because they've got a 5% lucky roll all of the time on things like saves, it's going to help even more so with the paladin. So I think that this is your hero type, the halfling that looks at everybody else sitting around smoking their pipes and sitting in the pub, and someone stands up and says, hey, we're all sitting here bitching about the evil overlord, but why is nobody doing anything? If we all band together, we can do this. Let's go.
No, I like this guy, yeah.
And so this is a hero that is stepping up.
How do you make that something other than one-dimensional good guy?
By giving them, you know how yours is all about choose. I'm fighting the greater evil, right? Give them the opportunity to choose between the lesser of two evils.
Yeah.
Right? Where give them the Spider-Man. You can save the busload of children or your girlfriend, right? You get one or the other. You don't have time to do both. That is how you start to kind of pull at them and find how they can still find hope in the moment. Watch them find the hope and the joy and spread it. And remember, it's right in their tenets as well that they've got to search out new things to make them happy as well. Yeah. It's not just the delights that they have. They're looking for new stuff. They walk into the pleasure palace and they go, yeah, okay, all right, yeah, all right, we're doing this. Right? And they're going to wander around. They're not weirdly perverted. They're just like...
interested.
Yeah, like, does that... like, you put your finger there?
Oh my.
I miss Terry. So, not for that reason. Everybody come in. All right, so...
It's a relationship I wasn't expecting to come out of this. That's fine.
There's lots of fingers, lots of holes. It's gross.
It's like bowling. But the... What? Bye, Dan. The internet can't see. Dan's gone away now.
Yeah, he's turned around.
So the point is that this guy he's perpetually happy, and he's always looking for the next. This is a guy who would, if you make him maybe he's a dwarf, yeah, and he's out to make the perfect brew, to make people happy. He doesn't want high alcohol content. He wants low alcohol content, so you can keep drinking. Enjoy it. Yeah, and keep drinking more of it, right? And so this is a positive and yet not an annoying character. Because he's trying to look at the bright side of things, but more than anything else, he's consoling others. The other thing that I think mechanically suits this really well would be a metallic dragonborn who worships Bahamut and says, hey, you know what, we're going to do things for good, right, for the side of good. And he has a little bit of a connection to it. Or the half-elf that was raised by his mother, who was an elf. And the rest of the elves didn't look down on him for being a half-breed like most people would throw in their backstory. Instead, they said, hey, you know what? Your life is very, very, very short. You need to grab opportunity by the horns, and you need to live life to its fullest. And we're going to teach you how, and we're going to teach you these songs. And he grows up surrounded by elven beauty and artisans, and he's learned to love it, which is maybe why he gets a couple of levels in Bard or something. And so he grew up listening to his mother sing, and he knows these different ways of making anything better. And then he says, you know, I'm going to go out and I'm going to spread the word on this because I need to live life and I can't do it here, so I'm going to help. I like my dark and evil characters. I love this as being a true hero. I'm not a fan of the cleric that's out to heal people. You heard me bitch about that in the cleric episode, right? And I'm not out for the like avenging anything. I've seen that a lot. We have so few sincere heroes anymore that are just trying to do good, that don't go through their negative, like, oh, they've been tempted by the evil dark side of... No, I'm not going to be tempted. I know what's right, and this is right, and we're going to restore hope to the kingdom.
I like it.
And that's Urbandale.
It is Urbandale.
Yeah.
And
it's Rezu to a lesser extent.
Yeah. For those of you that don't know, Urbandale was a NPC that was just good at everything, including trying to help the players by giving things like back rubs and you know,
he was too feel-good character.
He was way too handsy.
Look, hey, he was gonna sit there and he was gonna help you do whatever it is. Oh, you're sitting there and you're doing a clockwork thing because you're a gnome. Can I sit down and help? Can I at least watch? I'd love to learn what you have to say.
Yeah, he was also very good at dying to summon Demogorgon to the world.
That was your guys' choice, not mine.
Boom.
So maybe if you hadn't totally fucked up the encounter, that wouldn't have happened, Dan.
I didn't totally fuck it up.
Well, then why were you on the other side of the map from everybody else when they really needed you, Dan?
Why was everybody on the other side of every map? We were so spread out in that.
You ran away.
Your fault.
Anyways, Who's
Megan.
next?
Megan.
Cool. I will go. So I had a couple of random ideas, but I think for me, I really love the idea of breaking the Paladin and what it truly stands for. So the fact that I had kind of like devotion to go off of, I would completely break this concept. Because right now, if you read devotion and go at rules as written, you are talking about deities, you are talking about gods, you are talking about holier than thou, you are talking about the divine. I would just want to really tie the devotion piece into either a construct or just break it and just be almost like worshiping a false god. So they get their abilities and strength from just knowing and feeling like they are devoted to something, but it doesn't actually come from a deity. It just comes from their own will and their own ability to...
And they know it.
And they know it.
Yeah, it's not like they're falsely assuming that there's some sort of deity, but it's in them all along. No, they actually know that it's their power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like they know that they've grown into this ability because they worship strongly of this construct or a false god, or even just choose one of the evil gods to follow, like you're talking about, like Bahamut, or like...
Well, Bahamut's a good god, but
Yeah, that's true. Sorry, Tiamat is what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
So I said earlier, just have them be devoted to Tiamat and be like, okay, well, I, as a paladin, have all these abilities because I'm devoted to this god and it is a deity, but it is inherently evil. So I love the idea of playing an evil paladin, but not going your classic Oathbreaker, not going your classic vengeful like paladin, but actually just taking the concept of being devoted to something and
being a cultist about it.
Yeah.
You're not the evil warrior. You're just like, hey, you know what? I sign up for Team Evil.
yeah.
Like, let's do this. I'm gonna hand out pamphlets on my days off.
Right? So that's just basically what they did and where they've grown. Like, maybe they just grew up in a city or a town where that's who ruled the city. Like, think of something like, God, I can't think of the fucking vampire right now. What's his name?
Strahd?
Strahd. So think of Strahd. If he had a cult, not necessarily vampires, but the people that worship and take care of them, you could have a paladin warrior that is just devoted to their cause with the devotion abilities.
Is there anything saying that you couldn't choose a great old one or an archfey or anything?
Nope.
No.
So-
There is no limit to what you can choose to what you are devoted to.
Yeah, man, I think that's a fantastic idea.
Yeah.
What about flipping it on its head, though?
Using your good abilities, your healing, your protection, your everything abilities to manipulate the masses to follow your evil god.
Yeah.
I'm on board with
Yeah,
this.
look, we need to keep the people alive to worship.
Yeah.
Right? Hey, you know what? I just healed you back, little peasant that nearly died in that fire. And remember, Tiamat did this for you.
Right? Yeah.
Right, and I think that's cool. I also like the idea of, you could play this a little bit sniveling too, because you know who else is super devoted? Henchmen, goblins, kobolds.
Yeah.
Right? The kobold that is just super devoted to the white dragon. Right? Because kobold's a playable race now, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
But if you were to build like a paladin that was going to be that strong force to bring it forth, I would almost choose a dragonborn or a tiefling or something that is a little bit more frightful, so you can kind of have that like leadership quality and capability.
And both Dragonborns and Tieflings give you the bonus to Charisma, which is super nice for this.
Exactly. So they do actually make pretty good paladins at the end of the day, but would a Dragonborn truly follow an angelic deity? Probably, maybe not, depending on where they are. But
yeah, you pretty much have Bahamut and Tiamat, and those are your...
So why not take the devotion piece, throw it into the negative dark side? I'm a very dark person. I think we've learned this now.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So...
I like this, especially if you're going to play Horde of the Dragon Queen and then Rise of Tiamat, and you sit there as your Dragonborn that's like, hey, you know what? My god says, and you never name drop your god, and then you get to the last little bit, you're like, oh no, I've been fighting for Tiamat the whole time. What are you guys doing?
Exactly, right? You never know actually what deity they're following.
Yeah.
They just...
And that adds this really interesting arc as well for your players and for your friends around the table as well, as like, do they try to convince you that evil is bad?
Yeah.
And then turn your devotion to something else?
99% of parties will just murder the shit out of that character.
Yeah, absolutely. Or not murder them, or we'll just assume that they're worshiping somebody good because they just healed them.
Yeah.
Well, they'll just assume. They won't ask... like,
it'll never
how
be
many
the
times
best.
do your players ask you what the name of your NPCs are?
Almost freaking never.
Exactly. So how many times do they actually ask what their alignment is, or who they worship is,
Yeah,
or...
unless it's Terry, who asks me just to see me scramble.
Yeah.
Oh, no, Dan asks me...
Dan doesn't know too, yeah. But that's my point, is like you kind of have to rely on the fact that your team probably isn't going to ask.
Yeah.
They're going to make mistakes.
I sit down and I say a prayer in Draconic.
Yeah.
And who else speaks Draconic? Nobody? Beautiful.
Beautiful. Excellent, right? So I just think that's good. But But yeah, I will throw in my little one that I sent you the other day because I think it's hilarious.
Yeah.
So it does talk, I did want to decide it falls on the Oath of the Ancients, though, but I basically said, cynical, uncultured paladin who's traveling along, stops at an inn and has the most delicious meal like they've ever had, and then forsakes their duty and acts as a chef's herald. Basically as their hype man, and a bodyguard aim angelically and violently to spread the reputation of this new chef.
I just see him like walking up to a cleric and coming like, Torm's cool, Torm's alright on everything, but have you had this burger?
Have you had this burger?
No, I love the idea of him like raiding the goblin encampment and then turning around to leave, and he leaves like a little pamphlet hanging from the.
It's a takeout order, like a little takeout menu.
Yeah, I love it. And then I said Oath of the Ancients because then they can build gardens to grow their own plants and things for fresh ingredients.
I'm actually working on a subclass myself for wizard, which I've been secretly working on this. It's a food mage.
Oh, I like
and
it.
Everything is food based, and so this would very much.
I like it.
I
will give a shout out to my brother-in-law, though. He kind of helped me come up with that one. But I thought it was really
That's cool. Oh, you know what? I like him as a hype man for like a nightclub too.
Yeah. You're just a hype man for the bar in the town, but you're actually just a full-on paladin, so you can kick ass. Yeah, I love it. Anyways, 10.
Well, my option is not sufficient to either of those two. I love the religious aspect of the paladin, and I try not to harp on that a lot here on the podcast, but I really do like playing the characters.
Look, the gods are a part of this game.
The gods are a part of this game, and they're
acknowledge it.
super duper interesting, and each one of them has a lot of flavor and interesting story you could pull out as a paladin of them. And I like taking the gods that don't quite fit the oath and seeing how the oath can fit. And
Maglubiet.
Maglubiet, yeah, sure, go ahead. Your goblin god.
Orcus.
Orcus, yeah, sure. Oath of Devotion, Orcus. We literally just talked about something like that.
Yeah.
But what I'm thinking of more is taking a race like Terry's not here, so a goblin. And
You and your small creatures. Hold on. There we go.
I was
did
told
the
to
thing.
make fun of you if you decided to do a goblin.
were you supposed to? Well,
Oh, sorry, no, it was gnome.
well,
It is no.
as Terry is now driving to work, he's probably at work just waiting for us to wrap up. I just have to say, this one's for you, Terry. My goblin paladin of Soon, who is the goddess of beauty and love.
I don't even see that. Where the fuck is Soon?
In Appendix B in your player's handbook, there is a list of the Forgotten Realms deities. Soon is the goddess of love and beauty. She is often depicted with like very beautiful formed woman, long raven hair. She is the god of artists.
raven hair, red hair.
Red hair. Sorry. She's the god of artists. She's the god of love. She's also kind of the god of sex, but that's just part of it. But the reason why I want to do a goblin is
Horny little goblin character.
not a horny little goblin character.
That's just mad as hell all the time. I'm gonna get you first.
I'm gonna get you, and I'm gonna get you. No, I wanted to have
Screw
this,
you and screw you.
I wanted to have this character who was a because Oath of Vengeance paladins are protectors. I wanted it to be the protector of art and artists and anyone who would destroy works of art, anyone who would deface a statue or harm innocent children or anything else like that. This is the type of character.
Back on the nightclub thing again. I'm sorry, Dan. This guy's just like protecting the harem. Like,
Yeah.
you leave those girls alone.
Yeah.
They are working hard for a living.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's who this character is. But I also wanted to twist it in such a way that it that this Oath of Vengeance paladin is a Thomas Crown Affair level character who is breaking in and stealing works of art from people who don't deserve it. So you're going stealthy goblin paladin of vengeance, and you're taking these things back because these people.
You're
don't
Indiana
deserve it.
Jones. It belongs in a museum.
Exactly. People need to see this beauty, need to see this art, and you have it locked up in
And you chose Goblin for this? Goblins
chose-
can barely understand what art is.
So, one of the reasons is, yes, for that. 2, they get dexterity and constitution as their bonuses. So they fit a paladin very well.
But their saves are wisdom and charisma, and all of your attacks are strength and charisma.
Except you could be a finesse build paladin. They're a real thing.
Yeah,
Why the hell not?
Yeah, but
Go with light armor because of that. And you're a stealth character. So you take the criminal background as a paladin.
Okay, but...
And you have deception and sleight of hand, or deception and stealth. You could go criminal or charlatan and get swap out stealth and sleight of hand. But you get those, and your character is breaking into places and stealing their art. Because he's Oath of Vengeance, his own qualms about breaking in and breaking the law to get these things don't matter. He needs to retrieve these pieces of art and these pieces of beauty.
I feel like
right?
it does fit in.
He's also the character who is sneaking into a dragon horde to steal the princess that got stolen. Right? That's what this character is.
you don't deserve her.
You don't.
Oh my god, I love him as like a spurned ex-lover of someone.
Yeah.
Who just goes to murder the new boyfriend
Yeah.
because you don't deserve her!
He's mildly creepy. Like,
All of your characters are mildly creepy.
not all of my... Rezu is not mildly creepy.
We just hadn't gotten there yet. You only had like 8 seconds. There's gonna be something.
But, like, the idea of, like, this treasure hunter, Oath of Vengeance paladin, goblin, just really intrigued me. That was mine.
I'm into it. I'm also thinking like you could play on the fact that like maybe in your artifact area, one of your artifacts got stolen, and now you have to find out who took it and where it is.
Well, with Indiana Jones, with Thomas Crown, with all of these like heist level things, there's always the other thief who also steals, and it might be there just a little bit before you sometimes, and that is another sworn enemy, right? Someone who is stealing to destroy the art, and you're stealing to preserve the art.
So this could actually be almost a villain to your party if your party is going after a similar artifact.
Yep. You could also dip a little bit of rogue and actually make rogue paladin work.
I was gonna say like I feel like you almost have to.
I don't think so. You could fix that with a background.
I guess so.
And like goblins get the ability to move as a bonus action, or is it hide with a bonus action? Like they get their freaky goblin hiding stuff as well. Like they're built towards this, and there's no reason why they can't. And like, sure, goddess of beauty, and you're playing a goblin. There's nothing saying in the goblin rules that they have to be ugly. Greenskin, yes.
That's true, but god damn it, Dan, you know that if a goblin worships a goddess of beauty, that he's just a chronic masturbator, and that's the character you have.
I can neither confirm nor deny. What happens to the art between the location it's stashed in and the museum?
It's only nude art. Oh fuck, that's so gross.
Why does the no?
Any
Why does that look
that's
used?
phallic,
No.
anything that like looks like a hole, that's what you have in this artifact, and that's it.
Yeah, why is the penis in that thing really well polished?
None of your business.
It's really polished from the waist down. It's because I'm a goblin. I can't reach that high. Stop asking questions.
Get out of here.
Anyways, anything else about paladins, guys? Before we wrap this up,
I knew we couldn't make it a whole episode without going down the negative.
Sorry, were you talking about like the dick and vagina hole? Is that what you're talking about?
We almost made it one episode.
almost made it. I mean, you did bring it up with the.
I did bring it up.
Yeah. Anyways, so anything else we want to add before we wrap up, guys?
No, that's pretty much
What do
it.
you think about paladins?
I like them. I like them because each subclass is its own unique flavor.
Yep.
And I like them because they are unique compared to the other classes. They're still weirdly mechanically imbalanced, and they've got some basic design flaws. And I'm sick and tired of bards, rogues, rangers, paladins all being holdovers from previous editions instead of just being their own new thing. Right? Because if they had named it, if they got rid of the paladin and called it a knight, we wouldn't have had all of this divine nonsense in it. Even a knight Templar. And then make it divine and lean into it. But it's just, I don't know.
I would like to point out, we always say this is a Dungeons & Dragons podcast. We're not going to bring up things like Pathfinder. But Pathfinder 2 has... I know. But you'll actually like this because this lines up with your statement. They've removed the paladin from the game. The paladin no longer exists. Except as a champion. And they have changed the paladin to a champion. And if you go the holy way, you can be a paladin. and it is a subclass feature of it.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
But its base class is a champion, and it is exactly what you're saying. It is more of a...
and you can choose to lean into the gods or not.
And you choose to lean into ideals or piety or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
So
pumpkin piety?
Pumpkin
now
pie.
I'm hungry. Megan?
No, I would say that like my final thought on Paladins is I really love from a DM perspective that you can really go after their devotion item or object or thing and use it against them. And I think that would be the funnest part as a DM is using that
100
to your advantage. So like, and then to your point, and being able to go against like if they can't lie, put them in a situation where they have to lie. If they can't, if they can't do these things because of their devotion.
Are you speaking from experience? Because I broke your sword.
Yes.
And okay.
Personally attacked.
All right, guys. Well, that...
Do you have any final thoughts, Dan?
Oh, no, I love Paladins. I always love Paladins. Paladins can do no wrong in my eyes. They're a fantastic multi-classing class. You could really dip into them 2 levels, and you get more than enough.
Paladin Barbarian that rages.
Why not, right? I mean, you can't smite while you rage, but, I mean...
Well, you can... No, no, you can. You can Divine Smite because you technically use a spell slot, but you're not casting a spell.
True.
Well, this is a character I have to build now.
Boom.
There we go. Dan's going to be up till 2 in the morning now. Yeah.
Okay. So that'll be it for this week's episode on Paladins. You can find us on iTunes, Spotify, and YouTube, as well as dozens of other podcast apps. You can also find us at itsamimic.com and email us at info@itsamimic.com. Thanks for listening to the It's a Mimic podcast, and make sure to check us out next week when we're covering Rangers.
Thank you for listening to It's a Mimic. Check us out online at itsamimic.com or on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Have questions you would like answered by the guys on the show? Send them an email to itsamimic@gmail.com. Tune in every Tuesday for more.
What is your favorite or your go-to alignment in D&D now?
For me?
Yeah.
The one that I enjoy playing the most is Lawful Good, weirdly enough.
You're on a fitting episode if
kind of.
You're like Lawful Good.
But the weird part is with Paladins, it's not what I prefer. But like I've played a lot of Lawful Good characters in my day, and so sometimes when we did an evil campaign for a hot second for one episode, and I could not, for the life of me, figure out how to play an evil character. It was the hardest thing for me to do because I've been playing Lawful Good for so long. It's kind of my go-to, or closer to the Lawful Good side.
It took me, when we played that evil campaign, it took me like 2 sessions to really get into it, and then I embraced it.
Yeah.
But the problem was that you were still happy and you were still following the law, and you thought that this was still a good thing. You didn't change what Lawful Good meant. You changed how you interpreted Lawful Good.
No, my character was Lawful Evil. Straight up Lawful Evil.
Yes, but you still played it like, oh, interesting. I'm collecting this knowledge, which is a good thing, about how everybody dies. And so the morality was just shifted. He still would have called himself good, is the point. He was just evil in the process, right?
Yeah. No, I'm a big fan of, like, even bad guys. We talked earlier about NPCs. Bad guys specifically who are justifiably evil and are good in their own eyes.
Like Magneto?
Like Magneto, yeah.
And Thanos?
Yeah. Even Strahd.
He's doing what he's doing supposed to be right.
Even Strahd, to a certain extent, is doing what he thinks is right. So...
Well, you always think what you're doing is right. You're doing it for a purpose and a reason.
All right, so Dan, what's yours then? If it's Lawful Good for Megan?
Oh, Nutri-Good. I'm boring as hell.
Now, did you guys like the fall from grace? Is that part of the good? You want the temptation and either the redemption or the full fall?
Yes.
I don't so much like the fall as much as I like the redemption. Right? Like, for me, the redemption is necessary evil.
I'm going to say that Megan watches a lot of anime.
Yeah.
And that hence the fall. And you are, you're happy little Krister boy. You love the redemption arc.
I do. I really do.
Right,
and when it finally hits its climax and you're now being a good character who has been through a lot and has got a lot of baggage with him, but is still trying to be the best version of himself that he can be. I just love playing that type of character.
Forcing change on other characters.
Oh, yes.
That's also my favorite. I've done that multiple times in games where my character is like, no, we're doing it this way because of X, Y, and Z, and they have to follow you.
Your character walks into church with 2 legs, walks out with 1.
Look,
shut your butt. Personally attacked.
So, hold on. So, I got to say, though, Dan, that's boring as fuck as a DM to be able to say, like, oh, here's your redemption arc, and it's done. Because I can only do that on the last 1 or 2 sessions of an entire campaign. The whole thing has got to be tempting you towards evil, or slowly letting you, like, you have to give me a list of things you've done wrong so we can cross that list off for your penance all the way through it. And for me as a DM, I'm like, okay, so what's next on the list of shit? And hey, you saved the world, which we were all going to do anyway because it's D&D. So I'm bored with your lawful good redemption story. So for me, as a DM, I have to throw more spice in there because I know that I can only ramp up the stakes so far before you become irredeemable.
Well, part of the things that you do is you have this redemption arc and you get close to being complete, and then something tragic happens, a tragic arc or something eventful happens in the character's life, and now you're starting from square one and you're trying to get back up.
Yeah, but that's not,
and that's a very macro view. Session to session, that is a constant struggle your character's going through, where he's fighting his own nature in a way.
I think that's really good if you all agree that you're going to do this module that lasts six levels, right? Mm-hmm. But if you're doing 1 to 20 in a homebrew campaign, and this campaign is going to take 3 years, that's a lot of up and down and up and down and up and down. Yep. And it's a lot of work for the DM to do, and I don't know.
Well, we're experiencing that right now with Locky, right?
Yeah, but you're not even close to lawful good, never have been.
No.
Boom.
Yeah.
Well, no, my hope is that Locky eventually gets to be like chaotic good, if not neutral good. He'll never be lawful. Locky just is incapable of that, but I'm hoping he gets towards that neutral good, chaotic good frame of mind. And you did things like you made his daughter, whose his entire quest was to rescue, you made her a revenant. And now he has to deal with the fact that he has an undead daughter.
And he has 1 year and 1 day to rescue her soul.
Yeah.
It's okay, your trusty paladin is going to help you with that.
Yeah. How's your trusty paladin doing with their god relationship right now?
It doesn't exist, is the issue.
Yeah. So, anyways.
Oh, hold on. I'm going to let you guess. What do you think my favorite alignment is?
Neutral.
True neutral?
Yeah, just boring as fuck.
I would say Adam would argue about neutral being boring as fuck.
See, I think true neutral is incredibly interesting, but that's just a DM perspective.
True enough.
Right, because I want true balance in everything, and for every up, there's a down. And
I think...
Choices.
But Dan has seen me as a player.
I think you really like lawful neutral. You don't necessarily like to argue based on the lines of justice and law and order, but you like messing with morality. So having that middle road character who kind of deviates either way, I see.
But that's not lawful anything. Then
I
don't like lawful.
So I said you don't like messing with it. So you're going to sit with lawful because you're not going to break the mold there. You're going to do morality in that sense, and also Batman's lawful neutral. So you're probably going to be lawful neutral.
Yeah.
Are you Batman?
Don't tell anybody.
Oh.
Dan's Green Arrow, which is why we fight.
Yeah.
So
I'm chaotic good.
You are also wearing a green shirt today, so I'm fully on believing that this is a thing.
And mine is relatively dark. Yeah. Cool. So honestly, it's either between lawful neutral or neutral evil. I freaking love neutral evil. I love playing a sociopath. It's just like, right, but the logical thing to do here is to murder those 3 and then smear the bodies. I don't believe in a god, but let's do some sort of ritualistic thing to leave them up. We'll throw everybody off the trail.
Yeah, you get
Yes, but evil Spock.
You get visibly excited whenever you get a chance to play with Yugoloths.
I freaking love Yugoloths. You don't understand how much I love Yugoloths.
I would like to say his face lit up like a kid on Christmas.
Yes.
Yeah, I really do, because they're so, like, they're just mercenaries. And they're so weird. And they're all like, yeah, sure, absolutely, but what are you going to do for me in the meantime? And they're all about loopholes and, like, it's just...